Okay. Excuse me. I've got 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this April 7, 2026 meeting of the Henderson City County Planning Commission to order. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate your help, like every time we get together. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you. David Dixon.
Here.
Kevin Richard.
Here.
Bobby Jarrett.
Here.
Mac Arnold.
Here.
Dickie Johnson.
Here.
Gary Gibson.
Here.
Kevin Herron. Gray Hodge.
Here.
Stacy Denton. Here. Frank Boyette.
Here.
Heather Crooks. Kurt Hamilton.
Here.
Very good. Do we have a quorum?
We do.
Excellent. We've got a healthy agenda tonight, folks. We're going to get right to it. I need a motion to enter public hearings.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of entering public hearing, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? We're in public hearing. The first order of business is looking at the minutes from our March 3, 2026 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Minutes approved. Next item on the budget is our new budget. Mr. Bishop?
Yes, sir. I sent a copy of the budget out prior to the meeting, so feel free to interrupt if you have any questions. A broad overview level is the total budget goes up 5%, which is roughly $44,163.90. The largest increase is always personnel. We have budgeted 3% raise, so which is a cost of living and no merit increase this year. Our biggest expense is going to be health insurance, which is beginning to eat our lunch, so to speak. So we will start looking at alternatives with the city and county as a way to bring that down. We have a roughly 9% increase to maintenance, repairs, and maintenance and repairs. Services has been increased 4%, and this is largely due to professional services. We've had a higher expense for our auditor, and we have added extra legal funds in case there's any potential litigation that comes before us. We have also increased line items for member stipends, advertising, and printing with our increased load of meetings that we anticipate to have over the next year and a half. We also found a way to decrease certain line items such as GIS contractual services, which is down $4,500, telephone costs, and GIS meetings and dues. And that is a really broad overview of the budget. With that, I will do my best to answer any questions that you have. And Jennifer and Rhonda will also be able to help as well.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
what happens, we not planning on giving any merit raises?
Not this year. Not with the added expense of health care and everything. We didn't think it was prudent to add more money to the budget when we were already increasing.
I mean, the employees don't have any control over the healthcare costs.
I think if you were to amend or make an amendment to the budget, they would not complain.
I'll make amendments to the budget. At least 1.5%.
Is that a motion?
Yes. Second.
We have a motion and a second.
I put a second on that.
One point of note on that is this has already been roughly approved by the City County Co-op
Okay.
Board. So with that, I will send that
Recommend.
amendment to that board, which ultimately this gets approved via the city and county via their budget process as well, because they allocate half of the budget.
I understand that.
Well, just so you know, we'll need to update there.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor to provide a merit raise of 1.5%, is that correct? Up to 1.5%. Any discussion from the commission on this?
What we usually do.
I'm not sure.
Typically, in the past few years, it's been cost of living 3% with a potential of 2% merit, which is never guaranteed.
Any other questions from the commission?
Everything's going up. I think it's a great idea, and thanks for recommending it.
Yeah.
Any other commission comments or questions? We are in public hearing, so I'll hear from the public on this matter. Anybody want to address the merit raise question? Okay, I see none. Any other questions from the commission? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you. Kevin Richard.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Mac Arnold.
Yes.
Dickie Johnson.
Yes.
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Kevin Herron. Gray Hodge.
Yes.
Stacy Denton.
Yes.
Frank Boyette. Heather Crooks. Kurt Hamilton.
Yes.
Very good, motion passes. Any other questions for staff concerning the budget? The proposed budget? Anyone in the audience like to have a question or a comment regarding the budget? Okay. So how would this go then? City and fiscal court,
Yes,
city and county will have to approve the amendment amended.
Correct. At this point, we will send the minutes and the updated budget to both the Board of Commissioners and the fiscal court, which ultimately will have final say on any budget that we have.
Okay, will it have to come back to us?
I don't believe so, not if it's been amended here, unless, and I'll ask Mr. Friday, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's what was proposed tonight or up to the 1.5% merit increase, I don't believe it would come back.
Okay,
I'm not sure his motion approved the budget.
it did not in my
So
mind.
we need to have-
Right, right. Any other questions, comments regarding the budget? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget as amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you. Kevin Richard.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Mac Arnold.
Yes.
Dickie Johnson. Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Gray Hodge.
Yes.
Stacy Denton. Frank Boyette. Kurt Hamilton.
Yes.
Motion passes. The next item is the an amendment, proposed amendment to the Henderson County zoning ordinance. Ms. Allen, you going to help us with that one?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. If it is okay with you, I would like to, in a sense, combine number 3 and number 4, which are both text amendments, because both of these text amendments for the city and the county were created due to House Bill 160. So we would need 2 different votes, obviously, for the 2 separate ordinance updates, but both of them are doing this because to come into compliance with the state. So again, like I mentioned, House Bill 160 was signed into law April 1st of 25. It did give localities, I guess, enough time to kind of change their ordinances they currently have in place, but this will become effective as of July 1 of 26. So we are trying to get a little bit ahead of that and get our ordinances up to date so that they are in line with state statute. For the overview of House Bill 160, it prohibits zoning ordinances from restricting the placement of qualified manufactured homes in any zone where single-family dwellings are permitted. We'll dive a little deeper into the definitions and stuff like that, but between me, Randy Tassa, and Don Kelsey, I think we can get all the questions you guys may have for these answered. But some of the things to note for either of the ordinance amendments, the standards that are set out do apply uniformly to all new single-family dwellings. So regardless of stick-built or qualified manufactured home, these are standards that will be across the board for both. One of the things that was really important with part of House Bill 160, they gave extra consideration to existing single-family dwellings. Per KRS 100-348, they are allowed to implement compatibility standards that make sure that we are taking into account the assessed value between the new single-family homes that will be built and then the existing single-family dwellings that are located up to 1/8 of a mile from that location of, let's say, the new qualified manufactured home. So I am going to handle most of the county portion of it, and then Dawn will do the city portion, if that's okay with you, Dawn? Okay.
Excuse me,
So,
before we
yes.
get into the individual city and county, what is the intent of this legislation?
My thought of the intent is to provide for more opportunities for affordable housing, or the new term they're using is income-aligned housing, in any zone. So allowing someone that couldn't necessarily maybe always live in where we've restricted it to single-family stick-built homes, to now be able to put a home there as long as it meets the requirements of what is set out in the definition of a qualified manufactured home.
Okay, which you will discuss that definition.
Yes.
Thank you.
So if you will, the county's request starts on page 10, but the most of it, you're going to start on page 11, where we start discussing definitions. So I would like to note that all the definitions that are currently in place will stay the same, but the following that are listed here in the amendments. I'm not going to read verbatim what the definition of a manufactured home now is, but you can see where they made that change. They amended the definition of it. To me, the most important part is if Randy has a different opinion, he can definitely give that as well. But a new requirement for manufactured home. Again, I'd like to note that a qualified manufactured home and a manufactured home are not the same thing. It gets a little confusing when you just throw that around there. But a manufactured home, as of July 1 for the county, the manufactured home shall have been manufactured on a date not to exceed 20 years prior to the date of installation. So in the past, we've not always had that. If my memory serves me correctly, the definition we had was more or less a mobile home, and then we covered manufactured home underneath mobile home. And so we will have a specific definition for manufactured home. And to me, the most important change there is that we are going to implement a date of those so that they are they're newer, they're more safe, sanitary for affordable housing living. You'll then see that we are adding the definition of a manufactured home qualified. Because the way it says there, you can see the different things that it is manufactured on a date not to exceed 5 years. So these are going to be much newer homes. They're one of the more important things that you'll want to look at, number 3, it has a width of at least 20 feet at its smallest width measurement, or is 2 stories in height and oriented on the lot or parcel so that its main entrance door faces the street. But it does have to have a minimum total living area of 900 square feet. So those are the differences there. And then you will see next where it has amended mobile home, they're removing that definition. So we will just be looking or considering qualified manufactured homes or manufactured homes. The purpose and
Wait a
authority.
minute, let me back up. In regards to the 5 years,
Yes.
so explain that again.
The manufactured homes have to be, or the qualified manufactured home would have to be not exceed 5 years prior to the date of installation. So if someone installs one next week, it would need to have been, it would be 2021 or newer for that installation of that home.
But prior to that, you were saying a date of 20 years.
Yeah, so if it's a manufactured home, so
Okay.
that's
All
where
right.
it gets a little tricky.
So
and
there's
the-
2 definitions of manufactured and a qualified
Correct.
manufactured.
And I will say that the state law, that the House Bill 160 is specific to qualified manufactured homes.
Yeah.
So that would mean that anywhere that we allow single-family dwellings, we have to allow qualified manufactured homes. So there's a difference there. We don't have to allow the manufactured home. We do have to allow the qualified manufactured home. And if I speak out of turn, Dawn or Randy, make sure you guys.
Is it our intent to basically disqualify anybody from having a manufactured home?
No, and we still allow for them in the zoning ordinance, so for a manufactured home, but we are putting that timeline of 20 years or newer, because as we're all aware, the price of a manufactured home, it depreciates immediately, the value of it, and so that is why we want to make sure that we're maintaining, again, one of the big caveats of this was to maintain compatibility with the existing homes in the area.
Now, when we're dealing with this, it said anywhere home is built. So basically, are you saying any of the built zones, R1 or any of them?
Yeah.
Okay, how is that going to affect? I mean, I can understand if the house is built to comparable sizes, but like a 900 square foot house in an R1 district is really going to be degrading the other property in that area.
then one of the things that we're getting ready to get to, and then Dawn goes much more into detail with the cities, but there are compatibility standards that this new House Bill 160 law does allow for, and that is so that we can try to maintain the assessed values of other. The county chose a different approach, so if you guys want to go over to page 13, that's kind of where we get into how we're going to try, like I said, the compatibility, making sure it fits the area. So you'll see here, so the first one, again, I did mention this before, but I do want to make sure these standards set forth in this section are uniformly applied across the board to all new single-family residential dwellings, including site-built dwellings, qualified manufactured homes, and manufactured homes. So they're not differentiating between those when it comes to this law specifically here. For the first compatibility standard that says all zones, that is for any zone in the county. The all new single-family residential dwelling shall utilize a permanent foundation treatment, which if you're with the county zoning, that's not currently something that we do require. So any new single-family dwelling would need a permanent foundation in any zone. So I think that's a pretty standard thing there. So that's something in all of the zones in the county. That's one of the compatibility requirements. It even goes, if you read a little bit further, that the treatment of that foundation would be similar to those, contextually equivalent is what it says, to kind of what's.
Yeah, and I understand you may get into it and may not, but under like a subdivision where they have restricted covenants, are you going to talk about that, or is that part of it?
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
I mean, I can go ahead and just tell you now, so as long, obviously, you know that codes does not get involved in restricted covenants, as that's a civil matter. But this does not this does not negate those regulations. So from a code standpoint, if, someone comes to Randy and requests a building permit for a home that meets these compatibility standards that are set out, he does have to give that building permit. That is
Then they have to take it to
restricted
court.
covenants, they go through that way, but this does not get rid of, those protections are still in place for those communities or subdivisions. So then you'll see under D, compatibility standards. So these are specific to if any new single family, I try to make sure I say it right, in R1, R3, PUD, and P1. And if you can kind of look through there, but again, this is compatibility standards based on the 1/8 of a mile from existing structures. Number 1 there, all new homes must be oriented to face the street. Number 2, all new homes must meet at least 3 of the following criteria. So this is where the county and the city do differ a bit, because different locations in the county call for different regulations, if that makes sense, just on what kind of compatibility standards they would need in that area. This is very similar to what Warren County Bowling Green has done, and they've also presented to Kentucky home builders. They've really been out showing this, so this is kind of where we got the ideas. So new homes must meet at least 3 of these criteria, A through F, so it must incorporate a minimum of a 412 roof pitch, contain a covered front porch containing at least 24 square foot under roof, include a building foundation with 5 or more corners, not including the porch, incorporate an attached garage, has an upper story or half story with conditioned living space, and incorporate the same or higher quality exterior materials compared to the existing residential structure. So again, you would meet 3 of those. So in a sense, does it, in my opinion, put a little bit more work on our codes administrators to make sure that we are following the compatibility standards? Yes, but like I said, because the standards in each area are just going to be a little bit different based on what's compatible with that area, we thought that this was a good avenue. Because if you don't want to do an upper story, but you are going to have an attached garage, things like that.
They've got to have at least 3 of the 6.
Right.
Okay.
Let's see. Most most of this stuff is all the same. Again, now on page 14, the private restrictions. So nothing in this section shall be construed to affect, modify, or abolish restrictions contained in recorded deeds, covenants, or developers subdivision restrictions consistent with KRS 100-348-6. So there's that there that covers that.
Yeah.
And then the last part of the changes that you will see going through here is just adding in where permitted uses are now qualified manufactured homes in those discussed zones or manufactured homes, just based on where we did that. So it seems like a little bit more pages, but it's really just showing you where those changes had to be added.
Okay.
And I will do my best to answer questions on that portion, or do you want Ms. Kelsey to go ahead?
If we're going to consider them separately, let's consider them separately. Does the commission have any questions?
So just confirm, we're voting to recommend approval or not recommend approval?
Recommend approval of the amendment as submitted.
We're recommending the county.
Yes, for the county, yes, sir.
And the county proposed this amendment, right?
Correct.
This is coming from them.
Yes.
But you still recommend
Right.
Yeah.
in this instance.
And all this verbiage is not in the state law. This is our effort to apply the state law.
Correct. Like I said, the most important thing that was noted there is that zoning ordinances can no longer prohibit qualified manufactured homes anywhere they allow single-family dwellings. And then it opened a little bit to say, but you can apply compatibility standards and kind of the degree, sorry.
No, very limited.
Very limited,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Commission, have any further questions for staff? Please.
I have a few questions. So, is this the entire ordinance?
This is the amended portion.
Okay.
Obviously, this is a portion of the entire county zoning ordinance.
Okay, so some of my questions may be cleared up because it's somewhere else in the ordinance. But these amendments tend to address mobile homes, what we commonly refer to mobile homes. So would factory-built modular units, I assume that they would also be covered under this same limitations and restrictions.
So this would not cover, are you referring to modular, factory-built modular homes?
Yeah.
So those are actually built under the Kentucky One and Family Residential Code, so that would not apply to what we're discussing tonight. Because those were already allowed in R1 or R2 because they're built to the same code. And the large difference between manufactured and modular home is the code that they're built to. So a modular home is built to the same code that a traditional stick-built house is, where a manufactured home is built to the HUD code, which is just a different standard.
A lot less.
Would it still meet Kentucky residential code if it's built to the HUD standard?
No, it's two separate. If it were a modular home, then yes, it would meet the Kentucky residential code. The really difference is it's built in a factory and then brought on site. And that's the similarities to the two.
Well, it's really a question of how it's brought on the site, not the fact that it's built in a factory.
Correct, because a lot of times if you bring in a manufactured home, there's wheels that have to be removed and things of that nature.
Okay. And then, I think it's the city ordinance addressed container buildings or container structures, but I don't see anything about container buildings in the county.
To my knowledge, we have not amended the ordinance for any kind of shipping container in the county or anything like that.
So there's nothing at all in the county ordinance. Half-story, is it defined somewhere else in the ordinance? I know it is in the city, but is it defined in the county ordinance?
I'm going to have to throw that one over to Randy, I'm not sure.
No, it's not. Okay. Maybe it ought to be referred to it in the amendment.
Yeah, and of course, when we dive into these things, we notice there's definitely things that we could make a little bit more clear and stuff like that.
One other thing, in the county, you tend to have larger lots, and you talked about this 1/8 mile distance. Where's that 1/8 mile measured from? Is it measured from the center of the structure, or is it measured from the property line? 660 feet wouldn't be that big a deal.
Right, I believe, and this is, we're both believing that it would be from the structure.
Shouldn't that be clarified?
What's in the statute?
Yeah.
And
It
the
is?
statute, I believe it has the 1/8 part of
Yes.
it.
Okay.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the commission for staff? Okay, do we have anybody here this evening that would like to speak? We'll do our usual.
Sorry, can I interrupt?
By all
I have
means.
one other question. In the county ordinance, you refer to Class A and Class B mobile homes. Is that similar as well? In the city ordinance, it seems, or amendments, it seems, Class A seems to be replaced by qualified mobile homes. But you're still allowing Class A and Class B mobile homes. It's on page 16, paragraph 10. But I have no idea what a Class A or, I have an idea from the city ordinance what a Class B is, but I don't from the county. Nor do I have any idea what a Class A is.
They are defined. There's a larger section that has that specific in the manufactured home, or the manufactured home, mobile home district. There is like a section for A, B. I don't know it right off my head, I'll be honest. So.
Defined elsewhere. Is that the best way to
Yes,
describe it?
yes.
It's defined elsewhere.
It's not shown here just because that didn't change there, so they just included the quick changes.
Okay. That's all.
That's okay.
Well, it's kind of interesting because, Randy, can you address that? I apologize, I shouldn't have you do it. but-
No, this is fine. I'll need your name, sir,
Randy Tassa,
your address,
1990 Barrett Court.
and do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, sir.
As far as the Class A and Class B, that only comes up under the manufactured home district, where it defines that, and nowhere else it really comes up. It just has a broad definition of What's that?
Is that part of the HUD standard, Class A versus Class B?
I believe that comes from the state on that, as far as from the Department of Housing and
Mr. Hodge, if I
Construction.
remember correctly, and it's been a while since I've read it, it boils down to the age of the manufactured home, whether, if it's a Class A or Class B.
Any other questions for this gentleman? Any other questions from the commission? Thank you, sir. Anybody in the audience have a question or a comment regarding this matter? If there are no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion in regard to this amendment to the Henderson County zoning ordinance, Appendix A. We don't have a provided motion, do we? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to recommend approval of the proposed Henderson Fiscal Court here amendments to the Henderson County zoning ordinance Appendix A with the side recommendation that the county look at maybe clarifying the definition of half-story and 1/8 mile.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kurt Hamilton.
Yes.
Frank Boyette. Stacy Denton.
Yes.
Gray Hodge.
Yes?
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Dickie Johnson.
Yes.
Mac Arnold.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Kevin Richard.
Yes.
Motion passes. So we're going to move on to the city's version of this matter.
Pull up my PowerPoint. I can pull it up. Yeah.
I'll need your name, please.
Hi, Dawn Kelsey.
Your address?
52 First Street.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Very good, thank you. Thanks for your help.
Thank you. This is actually the presentation that I provided for the City Board of Commissioners. So some of it may be duplicative of what Ms. Allen talked about, so I may skip a few slides. But we're here to talk about KRS 100.348, which was House Bill 160. So just to give you a little background so we can move forward with it, is currently, well, let's see if I can get this to work. Can get it to work, and I have your, thank you. Currently, we allow Class A manufactured homes in the city. They're permitted use in our RMH manufactured home district, so that's your old-fashioned trailer parks as for a regular name. We also have residential subdivided manufactured home district, which you all provided for us to add that a couple of years ago to give us more flexibility with Green Acres. If you all remember the issues we were having at Green Acres and they couldn't build. We also allow them as a permitted use in R3. They are conditional use currently in R4, in Ottoman residential, Ottoman commercial, and we also allow one manufactured home on an ag district. We have very few ag parcels left in the city. So just to give you a visual, if you look on here, and Chris Rader's here, and thank you, Chris, did this for me, thank you. The gray and the green, if you look at our city right now, that's really the only places currently you can place a manufactured home. So just kind of wanting to give you the visual on that. So, and just some pictures of current manufactured homes in the city. We have this is in on R3. So that's what we currently have in our community. As Ms. Marks told you in last year, the Kentucky legislature, that's all right, to address the shortage of affordable housing, wanted to provide another avenue for families to be able to afford a single-family house. And so it redefined the statutory requirements of qualified manufactured homes. So it includes modular homes, so that's factory built, that are taken on site, as well as manufactured homes. So it really falls under what we currently, under our ordinance, say is a Class A manufactured home. So, in KRS 100, as Ms. Allen, I keep wanting to call you Ms. Mark, sorry, explained, now qualified manufactured homes must be allowed wherever single-family homes are a permitted use. And these regulations have to be up to date by July 1st. So, to give you a little, these are the zones in the city where we currently allow single-family dwelling, either as a permitted or a conditional use. The ones that are highlighted are where we currently allow manufactured homes. So after July 1st, 2026, we will allow manufactured homes in all of these districts to come in compliance with KRS 100-348. So just to give you a visual, as you saw where it was before, everything in light blue, this is where manufactured homes will be allowed to come into our community. So this is a big change. So we've spent a lot of time looking at it. And we worked with Randy as well. So I think we can skip the next one. You've already gone through that. So our proposed ordinance changes are, first, we would like to revise our definition of single-family dwelling to include qualified manufactured homes, just to come into compliance. And then we'd like to remove our current definition of Class A manufactured homes and actually just substitute the statutory definition. So literally all we did was we went to the statute, cut it, and put it into our proposed ordinance change. That way there's no question as to whether we're in compliance with state law. As Jennifer explained, it is very clear that we can only have objectionable, measurable standards. We can't have anything subjective or discretionary. So it's clear that any architectural compatibility standard that we adopt for qualified manufactured homes, we actually adopt for every single family home. So it's not just for manufactured homes. So the law allows us to look at these architectural areas, and it's within 1/8 mile or less radius from the proposed location. And I told you it's in the statute. I think it's actually in the regs. So in the city, Chris did this for us. That is about 2.5 city blocks. About 10 acres, 2.5 city blocks, just to kind of get your idea of what we're looking at in a 1/8 mile radius. We can only consider roof pitch, square footage, type and quality of exterior finishing, foundation skirting, the existence and type of an attached structure, porches and garages are the attached structures they're discussing, and then setbacks. We don't have to worry about setbacks, we already have those setbacks already in our ordinance for all single-family dwelling. So our new qualified manufactured homes coming in will be the same setbacks that we currently have, so we can have to do that. But our challenge is to make changes that continue to protect the existing and future neighborhood character, but make sure that we're in compliance with KRS 100-348. So we spent a lot of time. We had many different revisions, and so this is what we came up with. We are going to look at roof pitch, orientation to street, foundation treatment, and attached structure, specifically covered porches. So if you'll go to roof pitch. Roof pitch, we're requiring a roof pitch of 412 on primary structure unless the new single-family dwelling has an upper story or a half upper story. One of the issues, and I should say, in our current requirement for Class A manufactured home, we require a roof pitch of 412. So this is not a change for what we require for manufactured homes. One of the issues that the city had was we have a lot of Italianettes, and they do not meet the roof pitch of 412. So that was a difficult, and we worked a long time, but what we realized is all of our Italianettes are 2 stories. We don't have any single stories. So by adopting the 412 for single family, or for single story dwellings, we think that we're going to be able to walk that and keep the neighborhood where you can still have Italianettes that won't meet the 412, but they'll be 2-story Italianettes, which is what we have currently. Building orientation, we just wanted to make sure that it was clear how our corner lots, we were going to treat our corner lots. Our corner lots will be oriented to prevailing block patterns. Foundation treatments, just like with the county, will have foundation treatments that are contextually equivalent. So that'll be either block, brick, concrete, and natural stone, and that's for the 1/8 mile. So Steve will have the joy of going out with a tape measuring and looking at our foundation treatment. But really, when we drove around and looked, these really meet everything we currently have. So it's not a change. The county doesn't currently require that. We actually do currently require skirting for our manufactured homes. So KRS 100-348 allows attached structures for architectural compatibility. This was one that we worked a long time on. So here's a picture of a manufactured home without a covered porch. So you can see they're nice looking. But if you have a manufactured home with a covered porch, it kind of creates a more neighborhood, it fits more with our current neighborhood in the city. So for that reason, after we looked at these and really studying and drove around, I looked 4 hours on a Sunday. My husband got the joy of driving around with me and looking at houses. We really saw that most of the new structures that are being built actually do have covered porches. But we felt like this was an important element to make them assimilate more in our neighborhoods. So in our ordinance, we are requiring for every new single story or half-story single-family dwelling a covered front porch that's at least 24 square feet. It will have to have a permanent porch foundation, and it will have to be integrated into the porch the porch roof line. And recognize this is new built. This is not old built. This is for new structures. Porch columns and railing will have to be constructed of wood, masonry, decorative concrete, or wrapped structural posts. We will not allow just structural steel or pipes or temporary. But we did do an exemption. And our exemption is where we currently allow manufactured homes, because we don't require porches where we currently have manufactured homes. And we do not want to create an obstacle, a barrier to affordable housing. So we felt like if we required that where we currently allow manufactured homes, that would be too big of an obstacle for affordable housing. So we exempted those manufactured homes and single-family homes in those areas. They do not have to have the covered porch. You can skip that. So the only other zones that will be excluded will be for single-family dwellings from this are PUDs, planned unit development. You all are very familiar with those. Jaco Homes is a planned unit development. They create their own concept and they bring them to you and you'll have approval under that. And then in our current manufactured home district or in our manufactured subdivision, which is really just Green Acres for the city. You asked this question.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Sure.
Could you go back up?
Sure.
I'm not sure I understand this.
Uh-huh.
These excluded the following zones that
Yeah,
allow.
we're not going to require those architectural standards in these zones because currently we don't want so let's say in Cambridge Mobile Home Park, we're not going to require them to meet these requirements because that park was designed to have manufactured homes.
But a planned unit development of all new homes?
So planned unit development will come to you all. They will create their own standards for what they want.
It seems like a big loophole in this new state law.
Oh, for planned unit development? I didn't write the law, so. So, but that will, so all of those, because you all will, they will come to you all, you will look at those, you all will establish those. We feel like we need to impose these standards for those, as they create their own standards.
One other
Sure.
quick, just to make sure I understand.
Uh-huh.
The county's version of this, people had a choice, 3 out of the 6.
Right.
No choices
We're
here,
only,
right?
but we don't have, we're just saying 3.
3 requirements.
3 requirements. We're
Gotcha.
not doing the 6, we're just saying 3.
Gotcha,
And
thank
part
you.
of that is we have so many more single-family homes being built in the city that to try to, for codes, to try to figure it out. The other thing is we really want to assimilate into our neighborhood, so we felt like we needed to be more disciplined on how we were doing that. A few housekeeping measures. Jennifer told you, this law does not preempt restrictive covenants. It is clear that restrictive covenants are excluded. However, as Jennifer explained, if Steve or Randy get a building permit or get an application for a building permit and it meets ours, they have to issue those. Those would be enforced separately. And finally, we have some housekeeping. We need to change all the Class A manufactured home references over to qualified manufactured homes, and we need to update our ag zone to make sure that it's clear that Class B manufactured homes can go into our ag. And like I said, for the city, there's so few ags parcels left. So that's it for me. So
Don, let's back up.
Sure.
And you bring up Jago.
Uh-huh.
All right, that's single-family housing up there.
It's a PUD.
So we can't restrict qualified manufactured homes from being built in any zone classification. So how are we going to restrict them from being built there?
You want to explain how a PUD works?
Yeah, well, I'll probably tag team on this one. So the deal with Jago is it's a little different. So as Dawn referred, they set their own setbacks, their own standards, things of that nature. And the one thing that really differentiates Jago is they will not be selling lots to individuals to build their own house. They're only selling lots to folks that they're going to build the house. So they ultimately have the final say when they sell the lot, in addition to the PUD requirements that Dawn alluded to. Is that a fair statement?
Right.
Yeah.
So PUD set their own standards, and so we're not going to go in now and tell PUDs what they have to do. And those are big developers that come in, so.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other questions from the commission?
Uh-oh.
These are easy.
I hope.
In the one slide, there was the term architectural compatibility.
Yes.
Who's the arbiter of architectural?
So architectural compatibility has to be, that is the term that the statute uses. It says cannot be subjective, and so architectural compatibility for us, the only one that it's going to fall within is foundation. It's foundation. What the foundation is made of, brick,
Okay, so you can stipulate material on the foundation,
Yes.
not the rest of the dwelling?
You can it has to be within the 1/8, but we are not, when we went out and looked at all of the manufactured homes that are being sold, they're all with siding. And so for the city of Henderson, siding is a known feature throughout our community, so.
And getting back to Vicky's question, if in some other residential development, if there were an empty lot,
Yes.
someone bought it, the developer really didn't care who put the house there, they could put a manufacturer, qualified manufacturer.
Okay.
So,
Yes,
Be careful. They said that, put it,
right.
they can get a building.
They can hit yes, and we've already talked about restrictive covenants, but yes,
talk about
restrictive covenants. But that's not something the city is going to be we're not allowed to
Yeah,
get into.
we don't even
restrictive
discuss
covenants.
it, but
Right,
Essentially, it becomes a civil matter at that
it
point.
becomes a
correct?
civil matter.
But none of this applies to anything other than a manufacturer. All these, the 412 pitch.
No, that's every single family dwelling.
Decrease in value.
The way the statute works is if you adopt an architectural standard, it has to apply to all single-family dwelling. And that was one reason on the roof pitch, we went half-story and double-story, so it's only for single story.
And I have to say,
Uh-huh.
it's a little bit
proven
personal.
that it'll
Exposed structural steel on
value
412.
of that stick.
If it's structural, if it's not going to be architecturally, we wanted to make sure that somebody can just put something up and say, look,
Yeah,
we
I know.
met the standards, right,
Feedback you get.
right.
Just have to get my data.
I didn't know you were having that, but anyway. But yes, so, and you know, this is not a law that we created. We're just trying to make sure that we design an ordinance that would protect the neighborhoods that we, but also we recognize that there is a housing shortage. And so we want to support, affordable housing in our community.
Quick question, sort of following up on an earlier question. Who decides what the architectural standard for a neighborhood is?
Well, so for us, the only thing it's going to matter is for our skirting, but it will be your codes administrator. And then like every other code decision on, you can always appeal a code decision, but it will be a code administrator.
That will decide, like if someone tries to put a contemporary house on a block with all brick traditional.
Okay, so that doesn't fall within our,
Exposed steel on the porch.
Is it
fall
safe to
within
say
the-
that the code administrator will have I don't want to say easy, but a defined
yes.
definition based on the houses within 1/8 of a mile? So if all the houses within 1/8 of a mile are brick, then that becomes your architectural standards that you must meet. Is that skirting?
For skirting, for us, we cannot do signing, so we don't care if it's a contemporary, our codes administrator doesn't care if it's a contemporary house, if it's a federal house, if it's a Georgian house, that is not in our ordinance.
To go back to Brian's example,
Uh-huh.
if all the houses around there
Uh-huh.
are brick and someone wants to put in a manufactured house with a cement floor on it,
We'll-
and the code official says, no, that's not compatible. Is there?
That's not gonna
appeals
be in the city, because we cannot do signing. That question is for the county. That's not a question, we cannot put, signing and we cannot look at that because, we're,
But it goes back to the question of architectural compatibility.
right, but that's not part of, when we look at architectural compatibility, for us, we define it 3 ways. Roof pitch, skirting, and porch. That's what we're looking at.
All right.
The county is different, so that question is more for the county.
Okay, so.
I'm not trying to
the
pass
example
the
Brian
buck.
was using, that would be for construction in the county, not for.
Right, yes, yes.
Neither one are regulating house specific materials. It's only permanent foundation materials.
Right.
So the skirting, not the actual, you know,
Right.
your bottom part could be stone and then the rest is siding, and
Right.
that's perfectly fine. It's
Yeah.
just the permanent structure
Right.
of the foundation.
And I'm not familiar with the city.
Uh-huh.
Is a manufactured home in the city required to get a conditional use permit?
So if you go back to the, I think it's the second slide.
I understood the new state law was
Yeah, no, keep going.
eliminating conditional use.
Keep going back. Yes, so currently, Mr. Johnson, in the city, we allow manufactured homes in 3 areas. RMH, which is Manufactured Home District, RMSMH, and that's subdividing manufactured homes, which for us is 3 acres, and R3. We allow it as a conditional use in R4, and Ottoman Commercial, and Ottoman Residential. So that is where they're currently allowed in the city.
But what happens if they want to go in R1 with no restrictions? Do they have to have a conditional use?
We are not allowed to do a conditional use.
Well, that's what I understood. So
Right.
they'd be able to go in with just a building permit, correct?
Yes, unless the only way that that would not be true
Yeah.
is we do have a few zones, if you'll go to, all right, there are a few of these zones that do require a conditional use for any single-family dwelling. So if we require a conditional use for any single-family dwelling, they would have to have a conditional use for that.
Okay,
Because it's uniform across both.
Right.
yes.
We have to treat them all the same.
Any other questions from the commission?
Thank you, Don.
Any questions from the audience or comments regarding the city's version of this amendment? Anyone else? Okay, I'm not hearing any, so I'll entertain a motion in regard to the City of Henderson's proposed amendment to the zoning ordinance. What is the pleasure of the commission?
I'm not in the city, but I'll make the motion because I sit on this board. Mr. Chairman, I would recommend that we recommend to the city to adopt the City of Henderson Board of Commissioners proposed ordinance regarding, relating to the single-family dwellings and manufactured housing.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you. Kevin Richard.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Mac Arnold.
Yes.
Dickie Johnson.
Yes.
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Gray Hodge.
Yes.
Stacy Denton. Frank Boyette.
Yes.
Kurt Hamilton.
Yes.
Very good. Motion passes. We're on to, the next item is amendment to the current goals and objectives. Proposed amendment.
Don't we have another, are we just doing fiscal courts, or are we doing the cities?
We already did fiscal
Just
court.
did the city.
Okay.
Okay.
Did I miss something?
No.
We have approved both the city and county's version of this.
In one vote?
No.
No, we voted for it.
Okay, I did miss something.
Okay. So I think we can move on to the city-county comprehensive plan and a possible amendment to the current goals and objectives. Counselor, are you going to lead that discussion?
Yes. The county has directed the planning commission to go through the proper steps to limit solar development, large-scale solar development, not the small, under 10 acre solar development, to the existing acres that are already. That needs to be done in several steps. And the first step we're doing tonight to amend the comprehensive plan. No, we're not amending the comprehensive plan. Planning Commission, staff is proposing to the Planning Commission wording consistent with the county's direction to change the goals and objectives, or actually only change them to the objectives of the comprehensive plan, which must be done by the various members of the Planning Commission. The city, the county, and court can each adopt their own goals and objectives. We're proposing the same goal to all three, but if they were to come back in different forms, we'll deal with that in a different way as we go forward. So, simply, Planning Commission adopts a goal and objective and sends it to the respective bodies for them to review, to change, to totally do away with and send it back something different. But the statute requires that we initiate and that we approve it and send it to them. And that's what we are doing, proposing to do. So if you have any questions about the procedure, I will address them now and then let Brian read the proposed change.
Do I understand correctly that after this process, we could end up with 3 different versions of these goals?
Well, it's possible.
One, the city might have their version, the county could have theirs, Corydon could have theirs.
Or the city and Corydon could say, we just don't want to address this issue.
Okay.
And if so, we'll deal with that as the statute permits.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for our
As
legal?
of now, they are all the same. They
Okay.
all have adopted the same goals.
Okay.
They have different ordinances.
Any other questions for legal counsel?
Yeah, Tommy, one thing I'm kind of curious about, is, what happened so far is like, they kind of got totally out of whack. I mean, it's just like, they just, just absorbed the whole area. If they had set, or adjust where it can be proportional to percentage of the land area, so you're not have like a single-family dwelling surrounded by 10,000 acres of solar panels.
I understand your statement, I don't understand your question.
Is there any way that it could be, that we could incorporate how we limit, we can permit it, but we just gonna have to, they're gonna have to,
I understand your question.
kind of control the density of what they're doing.
You're asking if the planning commission can make that recommendation to the county,
Yeah,
and the answer is yes.
okay,
But the county's already told us what they want.
right. Well, I understand that, I'm just,
But
I know we,
The answer to your
Right.
question is the planning commission can make whatever recommendation it chooses to the county. But we're not proposing an ordinance. We're proposing a goal under an existing objective. Two. It's the same objective under 2 goals in the planning commission, in the comprehensive.
okay.
Is there anything else in the goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan that is so specifically geared toward preventing a particular land use in the city or the county? This seems to be very, very laser focused on one use. That we already have an ordinance in the county about developing solar farms. Is it necessary, or is it even proper to be that specific in the comprehensive?
It's proper. But with that, it can be done a different way.
That's a different way than explored.
Commissioner Hodge, this is a direct action based on the fiscal court sending us a resolution directing us to basically correct, or prepare and have the language for that cap. So this was their decision at this point. We are only acting on their directive. Is that fair to say, PJ?
It is, but you're not required to follow that directive.
Further questions for council?
Have we acted on every directive that's come from the county commissioners?
On the fiscal court?
As long as I can remember. But we have made proposed changes. We've proposed changes.
Well, and I think that's key to understand is we can propose changes. The fiscal court still has the final say. If they want it that laser focused, they set policy.
Did they review the language before it came to us?
The goals and objectives or the resolution language?
What we're looking at tonight?
No, they have not, because the order goes plan commission and then the legislative body, city, county, city of court.
Is it possible this goes beyond what they want? Or intended?
Possibly, but if it does, they have the final right to say, no, this is not what we want.
On the other hand, if we approve it or vote in favor of it or recommend it, why would they back down from something that's presumably more favorable than what they had anticipated?
I'm not sure I can really speak to what their intent would be.
Hey, I make a suggestion. You read the letter that we received from the county. I have some.
Is that on drive? Can I see it real quick, TJ?
Did we get a copy of that in our?
Yes, we did.
I don't think I've seen that.
I don't think the letter is in the packet.
No, because this wasn't specific to the policy language that we would implement that they're requesting. This is a change, if I'm understanding from Tommy Joe's perspective, to be able to make a policy such as what they were kind of looking at, we needed to first amend our comprehensive plan, which is the basic plan and goal for the community. And so when this aligns with that, it makes more sense. And so this was the first step to that. So you wouldn't have received that request at this point, since that's not what we were, I guess, discussing at this level anyways.
Can you get to that on your email real quick?
I have a question, Brian. I mean, sort of to the laser focus of this. There is precedent, and I don't have our ordinances in front of us, but there are precedents in the county, right? We have ordinances against building businesses like strip joints.
Yes.
Like huge slaughterhouses.
Yes, and
yeah,
to
strip mine.
expand, that's about to say, they have specifically zeroed in on surface mining. As it came up at our previous meeting on the 18th, we're only one of 2 counties in the entire state that has a surface mine ordinance. So yes, they have focused.
There are precedents for like specific businesses to be basically banned by our ordinances.
I would not use the word banned, but I would say that they have been strictly zoned into a certain particular zone. So for example,
Effectively.
They have been zoned strongly is the word I would use, or description. So for example, with strip clubs, yes, those are in a specific zone. If I remember correctly, those are a conditional use in a heavy industrial zone. So it is very isolated on where it can go. Can go there, just very isolated.
But that's all done by ordinance, right? And this, I mean, the comprehensive plan should, in my view, outline, we want to preserve the agricultural nature, maintain so much percentage of green space, that's where we're leading up to fiscal court.
In the staff report, that's addressed, and when you guys get to that, I can read that portion into the record. This is in addition to the existing language.
We're going to be able to
Yes.
provide the letter from fiscal court.
So this is.
This is the letter that started, this is the letter that started the process, right?
Correct.
Very good.
Okay to proceed, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
January 7th, 2026, it is addressed to me at the Planning Commission office. Mr. Bishop, at the December 23rd, 2025 meeting, the Henderson County Fiscal Court, a motion was made regarding a text amendment to Section 30 of the Appendix A of the Henderson County zoning ordinance. Magistrate Tompkins made a motion for the Fiscal Court to ask the Planning Commission staff to create language developing a cap of solar farms, 6,050 total acres in Henderson County. Magistrate Berry seconded the motion. A voice vote was held with all voting in favor of the motion carried. The Fiscal Court directs and requests that the Planning Commission staff originate the language for this text amendment and then refer it back to the Fiscal Court for approval of the language. If the court approves the language, it will be referred back to the Planning Commission where at least one public hearing will be held prior, before being sent back to the Fiscal Court for final approval.
And we are at a step not anticipated by that letter, correct?
Correct.
Nothing in the letter talks about the comprehensive plan.
Correct. And TJ, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think from the staff and the attorney standpoint, we feel like this was the most effective way to address what the Fiscal Court has directed us to do.
To begin to address. There'll be steps.
Step one of the process.
Yeah, more steps to take. Okay. Any other questions for staff on this angle, or can we go ahead to the staff report? Why don't we do that, please?
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to read it into the record or just kind of go over it? It's roughly 7 pages.
Do you have it put in the record?
I believe so, but I will leave that to TJ.
Can you give us highlights?
Sure. Okay, let's do that.
Okay. Some of the highlights we'll start with, give me 1 second, I'm switching notes. So the proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan goals and objectives regarding large-scale solar energy systems serving off-site demand in Roberts and unincorporated Henderson County, including the exemption for small on-site 10 acres or less. The staff's basis for support, including consistency with the January 7th, 2026 Fiscal Court resolution and the findings that 6,000 acres already occupied or permitted by large-scale solar. Key policy concerns cited in the record: community aesthetics, agricultural preservation, economic development and nearby property values, environmental protection, and public health, safety, and welfare. Existing comprehensive plan language used to support the amendment, especially provisions on preserving agricultural land, rural heritage, and natural features and prime farmland, already exist. Agricultural context and farmland loss. Reviews of long-term USDA data shows declines in farmland acreage and number of farms in Henderson County, supporting the argument for stronger farmland protection. Economic importance of agricultural. It is described as an active and valuable part of the county economy, not just legacy land use, and argues that more land conservation could be more, more land conversion could weaken that economic base. In 2025, the Agricultural Development Council update summarized the county's recent agricultural planning, including farm strengths. In that, so one thing to note there, in the staff report, you're going to see there's 2 mentions of comprehensive plan. The first is the one that we're used to working with, which is the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan, and the other is the Agricultural Comprehensive Plan, which is done separate of the Plan Commission. And then moving on, the Henderson City County Plan Commission held a public hearing. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. So at that point, we have made our argument in the staff report, and I'll do my best to answer any questions of that document, or I can read further into that. I don't want to bore you with 7 pages of notes.
I like to.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman. No, you go on, you're the chairman.
Maybe we should read exactly what the amendments say. I think we skipped
Okay, yeah, I can do
skipped a
that.
step there.
I like to have one answer to my
good.
concern. The agricultural comprehensive plan, who puts that together?
That is actually set up by a separate council that's determined by KRS. If I remember right, it's KRS 190. And in the document, there's a list of folks that are chosen for that. I believe it's done in conjunction with the Ag Extension.
Okay. I'd never heard of that.
Honestly, we hadn't either until this, as we started doing research. And it's mentioned in the staff report. They specifically cite solar farms as a potential issue for farmland moving forward.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, would you like me to read?
Please.
Okay. This is the amendment to the current goals and objectives of the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan. A, balancing land use goal 1, wisely plan for local land uses in appropriate locations to maximize quality design and minimize the adverse impacts of development. New objective K, notwithstanding anything to the contrary in the comprehensive plan, goal 1 above is deemed to be inconsistent with additional or new development of large-scale solar energy systems providing off-site capacity, LCCOS, commonly referred to as solar farms in Roberts and unincorporated areas of Henderson County. Such new and additional development should be prohibited as contrary to the community's aesthetic values, preservation of agricultural land, encouragement of diverse economic development, preservation of nearby property values, environmental protection, and health, safety, and general welfare in general. Item B, protecting natural systems. Goal 1, protect and enhance the quality of natural environment while permitting appropriate development on suitable lands. New objective I, notwithstanding anything to the contrary in this comprehensive plan, goal 1 above is deemed to be inconsistent with additional or new development of large-scale solar energy systems providing off-site capacity, commonly referred to as solar farms in Roberts and the unincorporated areas of Henderson County. Such new and additional development should be prohibited as contrary to the community's aesthetic value, preservation of agricultural land, encouragement of diverse economic development, preservation of nearby property values, environmental protection, and health, safety, and welfare in general.
Okay. So those two paragraphs are really what we're here tonight for, right? Any questions from the commission?
Yes. Are you saying they asking for a freeze at 6,000 acres?
Yes.
Where they at now?
The definition or the wording that they have used is a cap.
Good.
So we have roughly, if I remember the math correctly, it's 6,013 either existing or permitted acres. They would like the cap to be 6,050.
Now, all they talk about gets solar on it.
Correct.
Okay, now we got a a county ordinance where nothing in the county can be over 200 feet tall. Now, I like that. So if we keep, there's something already there that, no. Because that don't have nothing to do with solar, but
Correct.
that do have something to do with later on.
Correct.
So, Mr. Bishop, this would apply, now these are just objectives, it's not, we're not passing an ordinance.
Correct. There would be new language for the comprehensive plan to come back, and then the ordinance would be in compliance with the updated language and the goals and objectives.
But effectively, what it does is it sends a message to people looking to build more solar panels across our county that, hey, our goals and objectives are consistent with what you plan to do.
I would say yes, and that's based on the resolution sent to us by fiscal court. They essentially have decided that policy.
Understood.
Anything else from the commission at the moment? Okay, I want to hear from the audience. Do we have anybody with us here tonight that would like to speak in favor of these proposed amendments? I'm sorry.
Could we get the staff report entered in the record?
Yes, by all means.
May I ask, would you swear in, Mr. Bishop?
Okay. Your name, sir?
I'm sorry.
Your name, sir?
Brian Bishop,
Your address?
1990 Barrett Court, Suite C, Henderson, Kentucky, 42420.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You promised that what you said up to now is subject to that oath that you just got.
Yes.
Do you intend to make your staff report part of your testimony?
I do.
You swear and affirm that the information in that staff report is true and correct to the best of your knowledge and
I do.
and you're submitting this into the record at this point?
Yes, sir.
Will you make copies of this report available to the public if they will either call the planning commission office and provide their email address or email you an answer?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, Mr. Bishop. So do we have anybody here tonight that would like to speak in favor of these proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan?
Deirdre McConaughey, address 10512 Airline Road, and I swear to tell the truth.
Okay?
I actually have a question, because I think I'm very excited about this possibility for the comprehensive plan. I've spent a lot of time, as we've looked at industrial energy projects, seeing about compatibility, and I think it's a wonderful thing to address it straight up. But my question is for the staff and for the commission to consider is the language that says above is deemed to be inconsistent with additional or new development of large-scale solar energy systems providing off-site capacity. My question is, would it be reasonable to consider, given that we have two other forms of industrial energy, to consider changing the language to read something like, I'm just inconsistent with new development of large-scale industrial energy? That would capture the wind projects that we're looking at and the scattering, large BESS and the scattering of BESS. And that would be even more comprehensive, to use that word, as to all of those projects that we're facing.
Mr. Friday, you want to address it before I do?
Should the planning commission choose to do that, it would be appropriate to make a separate motion for staff to prepare that language and advertise it and bring it to a new planning commission here. Because it's only been advertised for solar.
Makes sense.
We could not
Sure.
make that change.
No, that makes sense.
It can be done. Another alternative is you have a 2-year moratorium to work through the hearing process to allow the expert testimony to come in and be part of the record.
That's a good point.
Then draft a goals and objectives consistent with that effort.
That's a good, both of those are very good points. I think that the initial step that has been taken by planning to set up for what ordinances, I believe I've followed that and I applaud that. I was just thinking, and the second option that you presented about letting the course, and I assume you're referring to the wind moratorium, because we do not have a BESS moratorium in place at present, would be, so that would mean we would piecemeal come back and perhaps amend this comprehensive plan as so that would be, time laborious, but we can revisit it. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. Well, it's food for thought. You could do it comprehensively now, or we can do a cautious, time processed way. But I just wanted to bring that up because the words industrial would capture all three that we're facing. Any questions?
Any questions from the commission? Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir, your name?
James Franks,
Your address?
2301 28th Austin.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Good. How can we help you?
I just want to say I am in favor of it. You asked if anybody would like to speak to that. And that is my comment. I am also more in favor of Ms. Deidre's recommendation. And one question for you, could a third option be to your attorney to the chairman to call a special call meeting to make such a change sooner than putting it out a month if you were to advertise?
That's not for me.
Chairman, could you
Well,
advertise to...
There's a fair advertisement requirement. I think practically the quickest you could do it would be the next record.
Okay.
And it might be possible, but you're not going to save enough time. Not really.
That was all.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Dixon.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, your name,
Good evening, Melody Thompson,
your address.
4409 State Route 416 West in Roberts, and
You
I
promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
always.
Very good.
I'm coming to read a letter on behalf of Steve Rame. It's brief, there's a little bit of repetition, but it's short. Honorable Planning Commissioners, tonight's agenda addresses a topic that has drawn consistent public attention for nearly a year: alternative energy industrial development. The proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan recognizes an important principle that large-scale solar projects are incompatible with residential and agricultural areas in Henderson County. This principle reflects what many in this community already understand, that land use matters and certain types of development simply do not belong in every setting. I respectfully ask the Commission to apply this same principle consistently. If large-scale solar is considered incompatible with residential and agricultural areas, then the same standard should apply to battery energy storage systems, industrial wind turbines, and data centers. The comprehensive plan serves and should continue to serve as the guiding document that balances preservation with progress in our region. For it to remain a trustworthy guide, it must be grounded in a consistent, principled approach. Integrity in planning requires internal consistency. If we allow similar large-scale industrial uses in the same areas we are discussing protecting from solar, we undermine the very logic of the plan. Inconsistent policy leads to inconsistent outcomes and increases the risk of long-term harm to residents, property values, agriculture, and the character of the county. The proposed amendment is a step in the right direction. I simply ask that you take it one step further and ensure that the same standard is applied across all comparable forms of development. Land use decisions define what a community becomes. I ask that you make this language change to the comprehensive plan clear, consistent, and protective. And that's from Steve Rame.
Okay, do we have a copy of this?
We do now.
Okay. Is this, Counselor, is this proper? Okay.
There you go.
I think he did verify that that was how to do
Yes,
it.
he sent that prior to.
Okay. Okay. Yes, ma'am, your name?
Yes, my name is Shannon Hill, 16751 Bluff City Road, and I will promise to tell the truth.
Okay.
I would just like to say that I agree with the changes in the comprehensive plan that Mr. Bishop and his staff have prepared at the direction of fiscal court. I believe the community has unanimously requested this, and they have done a phenomenal job as well. We've come very far from where we started many, many months ago, and I think we're headed in the right direction. So I just want to say that I agree and give the Planning Commission full support. So
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you very much.
Anyone else like to speak? Okay. Your name,
I have
please?
some slides. Am I going to do my own slides, or?
Yeah, we'll see if it's working,
Okay.
if it's working for you, as opposed to if we're going.
First of all, your name, ma'am,
My name's Kelly England,
and your address?
13984 Highway 41 South in Roberts.
Okay, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Members of the Planning Commission, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight. As I was trying to decide what to say, I was looking back at a story the Hendersonian did last November about my family property. I decided the article summed up what I wanted to say. While the full article has been submitted for public record, due to time limits, I have edited the article. Willis and Glenda Spencer's home was built in 1870 by Willis's great-grandfather, Thomas Washington Spencer. He says it's been owned by a family member ever since. The Spencers, meanwhile, have owned the house for 35 years, after they bought it from one of Willis's cousins. It was run down then, in disrepair, but Willis did a mountain of work on it. It's a lovely home, clean and neat, set on about 6 acres among fields where corn or soybeans once grew. Out back, there's a barn that's said to be as old as the home and provides shelter for 3 calves. There's also an extra critter, a groundhog, that Willis has been trying to eradicate, but as of this writing, he's not been successful, but he has been. The 6 acres upon which the Spencers live provide the quiet country life they've always wanted and a place they've grown old together. He's 89, going to be 90 in July. She's 83, 84 actually. A few years back, the idyllic lifestyle the couple loved began to change. Now their home sits smack dab in the middle of 4,000 acres of solar panels that have been erected in fields in southern Henderson County near Roberts. In any direction you look, there are rows and rows of solar panels, almost as far as the eye can see, and a view they'll live with as long as they remain in their home. We would rather see corn or beans growing, Willis said. The Spencer's daughter, Kelly England, said her parents and many in the area were not fully aware of what was happening in the lead up to the solar companies building the acres of solar panels. There were meetings put on by the solar companies, but not many knew about them. The Spencers went to one, but Willis said they weren't informed enough before the meeting to ask the right questions. In addition to the view, they are also concerned about negative effects of the solar panels. Glenda worries about a tornado whipping through the area and blowing panels onto the house. Willis worries about emissions. And they both sit on the porch and watch all-day truck traffic bringing supplies for continued solar panel installation on a parcel nearby. Kelly believes this is a cautionary tale for future renewable development in the county. Kelly, like her parents, say many in the community weren't fully aware of what could occur during the planning stages and the lease signing stages of the solar developments near Roberts. The massive solar developments in the Roberts area have not only changed the countryside, but have also destroyed the fabric of the small town, pitting neighbor against neighbor. Many, like those who signed with the solar companies, say that as landowners, they have the right to do with their land as they please. England, though, said those rights end when what someone does on their land affects the quality of life of other residents on theirs. With the Spencers will be solar panels as far as the eye can see, replacing the corn and soybeans that once grew in their place. I would like to add one other thing from the same Hendersonian issue. There was a local family who have signed a lease with an industrial energy company who stated, quote, "The leases are transferable so that it becomes a legacy investment in our family. Your legacy investment at the expense of mine does not protect and enhance the quality of the natural environment, nor is it responsible land use for Henderson County. Please vote yes to this proposal. Thank you."
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else here this evening like to speak in favor of these proposed amendments? Your name, please?
Cindy Bigwormert. I live at 14834 Highway 1078 South, Henderson.
Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good,
I just
thank you.
want to say I do support the amendment to the comprehensive plan, and I also think Deidre's recommendation to include all large industrial projects would make it more comprehensive and even better. And I thank y'all for listening to all of us and considering all the information y'all have to look at. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else here to speak in favor? Your name, sir?
Jim Hill.
And your address?
16751 Bluff City Road.
Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to show my support for what Brian and them's been working on this comprehensive plan and support it 100%. And I appreciate what you guys all do.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else like to speak in favor of the amendments? Anyone here that would like to speak perhaps in opposition to these amendments? Or perhaps have a question about them?
Good evening.
Excuse me, ma'am, your name?
Catherine Eckert. My address is 325 West Main, Lexington, Kentucky.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Good?
Could you please spell your name for the record?
Kathryn-Eckert.
Okay.
Thank you.
If
I'm
this
here-
gentleman,
Yes.
I need his name, please.
Sure. Chip Redling, I'll spell that, Readling.
And your address?
207 South Kyler Avenue, Oak Park, Illinois.
Okay, and do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, good. Please, proceed.
Here on behalf of Pattern Energy, and I wanted to come up and make some comments about what we heard tonight. Looking at this text amendment, we're asking that the Planning Commission reject this because, in effect, it is a ban. It's not targeted zoning, like Mr. Hamilton mentioned. This isn't a strip club. It's not limited to zoning in a particular area. In effect, this is preventing the development of any more solar projects within the county itself. The comp plan is meant to be a flexible document that's forward-thinking, that looks at the objectives and goals for development in the county. And this type of strictly targeted ban wouldn't be appropriate in the comprehensive plan as a result. Like they mentioned, there's an opportunity to deal with this in another way. I want to call the Planning Commission's attention to the fact that allowing ongoing solar development in a very, targeted sense would actually enforce the goals that are mentioned in the Planning Commission. For example, the preservation of agricultural land, that tends to be an ongoing focus and concern. What people are looking at is the short term, the construction, seeing the solar panels that are out on the property themselves. But when you look at the long-term impact of that, at the end of the useful life, there's a state law in effect that says that these are decommissioned. They go back to the substantially similar state that they were in at the time that the project was started. At that time, they go back to being appropriate for agricultural use. It's allowed to sit there and rest fallow for those years. It comes back in better condition, in better shape. So it is actually a tool for preservation of agricultural land. Again, in the short term, it may not look like that, but you have to look at the long term, and that's what the goal of the comprehensive plan is, to look at be forward-thinking, looking at the goals and objectives for economic development in the county.
Wait, if I understand your testimony correctly, you're saying that solar panels are good for this farmland, right? Is that what you just said?
I'm just saying that allowing the land to sit fallow, you're not putting a development like a strip mall, you're not putting in a residential development. At the end of its useful life, it can go back into agricultural use.
What happens if the solar company files bankruptcy and just leaves and says, we're just leaving it there, sorry about your luck, landowners?
They can't do that because there is a decommissioning bond that's required to be in place by the state. The Energy and Environmental Cabinet helps oversee that decommissioning process. They can't just walk away and leave it. There's going to be securities and stopgaps in place to make sure that that decommissioning process is protected.
I only got one question. We have got 6,000 acres in solar. How many do you think we should have? I mean, this county is so big. No, this whole county should not go in something like that. We still got farm ground. And we used to be number one or number two corn and soybean county in the state. I don't see how we can be now.
When you look at the percentage of acreage that's currently being used by solar within the county itself, like you said, it's a very small amount, small percentage, but there's outside impacts on the success of the agricultural industry. You know, there's families that outgrow, you know, they want to retire, their children don't want to step in and continue farming. There's other issues.
Yeah, but most
that are
time when the
poison.
families take over, they don't have to wait further years until the lease run out before they can take over their farm ground.
And they may hold on to, this is another opportunity for them to enjoy some sort of payments from the land, and that way they can preserve it for future generations as well. But when you're asking about a specific cap, should there be so many acres, again, that's not an appropriate question for the comprehensive plan itself.
Oh, yeah, because you got to plan for the whole county. You don't get to plan for one factory.
Mr. Chairman, can I address there? The cap number is not set by the comprehensive plan. That was set by the fiscal court.
Yeah.
It's not specifically set by the comprehensive plan.
Correct. Yeah, but the language in the comprehensive plan itself asks for a ban on any development going forward. The language of that is effectively a ban in and of itself.
And that's in result of the ban essentially put on by the Henderson County Fiscal Court when they capped it. So that is a direct line of action and point to what the elected officials have decided.
That they've asked you all to incorporate into the comprehensive plan.
Correct.
And like one of the commissioners mentioned earlier, and I'm sorry I missed which one, you all aren't always required to follow the directive. Your job is to look at the comprehensive plan, the forward-thinking goals, and find the best way to approach that moving forward.
Correct. And that was Commissioner Hodge, and I would refer back to my previous statement that the fiscal court still has the final say no matter what this body does.
Right. And I think it's important to point out that it's more than just an anti-solar voice that needs to be heard before this commission. There's a lot of families that are invested. They want this sort of development for their properties. This is money in their pockets. This is a long-term retirement plan for their farms. This enables them to keep it for their children. That's important to look at here too. And there are different points of view at issue here. And there's people that live in this community that want this moving forward.
Is there anything legally speaking that would prevent us from adopting a public policy that bans any more solar farms? Anything under the law that would prevent us from adopting that specific policy, that we don't want any more solar farms or other industrial electric generating facilities?
I think the inconsistent application of what was a previously permitted use, which is now banned moving forward, creates some legal implications moving forward. I think that in order for this to be consistent with the goals, the directives, the objectives, and the comprehensive plan moving forward, it needs to be that forward-thinking language that pushes the economic development of the county. When you look at the specifically narrowed, tailored, targeted attack on one limited industry, preventing it from further development, then those particular issues come up.
But there's nothing in the law that prevents us from adopting that public policy if we vote to do that, correct?
I mean, I believe that you have to look at that, you know, the KRS Chapter 100 allows for amendments and looking at the goals and objectives for the county. And I think that it doesn't say you can specifically not include bans in that, but I don't think that falls within that particular chapter of KRS 100, where that would be.
You know, we are got one county, and we got county everywhere in the United States. Then you go across the border, you got county that ban solar, wind turbine, everything, period. There ain't no if and and about it. They ban it. So we can ban certain stuff here if the county want to.
I think the importance here is looking at what the actual impact of including this in the text amendment moving forward would be. I want to speak to also to the economic impact of something like this. I know that the comprehensive plan right now speaks to the diversity of economic development, bringing in opportunities for folks within the county, money that'll be spent pouring into the community itself. Also, looking at the local workforce, and that's what projects like this will bring to the county itself. I mean, you look beyond what's just in the personal impact to the landowners. You look to, here you've got a local workforce that has some experience in developing these kinds of projects. They're interested in working on these types of projects moving forward.
I want to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Because you're saying that local workforce in the community, out of the people that y'all have employed out there putting those solar panels up, how many lived in Henderson County?
And I don't have that number right now.
That was very few. Most of them come from Florida, Texas, and I'm not trying to be prejudiced, but most, well, I'm going to leave it right there.
Non-Hendersonians.
They were not from Henderson County, and they weren't local employees.
And I can let Mr. Redling speak more to that here in a second, but I just want to point out that there is opportunity to engage the local workforce here. There's also opportunity through IRBs or pilot programs to pour extensive tax benefits back into the community itself. The size of these projects and the amount of money that can be put back into the community, it's not just a direct impact, there's an indirect impact too. The landowners, with the lease payments that are made, can spend money within the community itself, so on and so forth. So if it's okay, I can let Mr. Redling speak to more of that.
Great. On the labor?
Yes.
Or just in general?
Well, first in general, what is your role within the solar development?
Before we switch gears, Mr. Bishop, you wanted to share something?
Yes, I think it's very important for the Planning Commission to realize and remember the county zoning ordinance was updated so that solar farms are no longer permitted uses in the ag zone, which is what the previous solar farms were approved under. Anything moving forward, any new solar farms would have to be zoned light or heavy industrial. So it's not ag land that we're talking about. It becomes industrial land at that point.
Okay. Sir, go, please, proceed.
Great, thank you. So again, my name's Chip Redling. I'm Vice President of Development with previously Cordelio, now Pattern Energy, and I'll address that as well. Can I touch on the labor question? So we've not employed any laborers in the community. So you've had experience with other companies and other projects. That's not us, so Pattern Energy. We've spoken to local unions, we've spoken to local workforce. They're very excited about this job, very excited about the opportunity, very excited about the economic prosperity that they would experience, they and their families, as well as the training that they would receive that they could utilize on other jobs. So I've spoken to those groups. We're very pro-union, and I've already expressed to them that we're excited about working with them as we move forward. Okay. Great, I'll continue. Thank you. So,
yes.
Vice President of Development with now Pattern Energy is my role. Personally, I've been in renewable energy development for just over 20 years, soon to be 21. And wind projects, solar projects, storage as well, throughout multiple areas within the country. So I would further a bit. Through those experiences, I'd say I've heard comments similar to what I've heard tonight. I've heard concerns about renewables similar to what I've heard tonight. I worked on multiple gigawatts within the country, and we found ways to address those concerns. We found ways to work with landowners, even when in opposition to the project, to reach mutually agreeable positions to move forward with projects. Okay.
And how many landowners do you have associated here in Henderson County?
Yes, so right now we have around 45 landowners that we're working with.
And all of those are folks that are expecting payments for use of their land in the future?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, both payments initially when they join the project and future payments during the project's lifetime.
How much are those payments per acre? How much are you paying people?
Yeah, it's proprietary information we don't share.
But it's enough that, you know, folks are eager at the opportunity to work with you on these projects.
Clearly.
10 times what a acre of corn would bring in? 50 times what an acre of corn will bring in?
Yeah, still, as just said, I mean, I'm not going to share the value, I'm just not. But it is enticing enough that the landowner does join with the project.
Can the landowner say what they're getting?
No, per the terms, they're not supposed to divulge. Yes,
But these are folks that are supportive of the proposed solar project, correct?
that's correct.
And they want to see its success moving forward in the county, correct?
Yes, they do.
What other benefits have they discussed with you as being part of this project?
Well, multiple. I mean, we mentioned before, as far as maintaining farmland, landowners will say that it gives a farm an opportunity to take a break for a period of time. They may pursue other interests, right, as far as an upside to being in the project. They may want to pass it to family members. Perhaps those family members are not interested in farming today, but they may be at some point in the future to come back and join farming. They've also got the investment during the lifetime of the project, which I mentioned, which can help them, giving a predictable income over a period of time can help protect them against downturns in production and in costs.
And so those, you know, that expected income from the property wouldn't be tied to output like if the land had been in agricultural use. Is that correct?
That's correct. Not at all. So it's a fixed known amount over the lifetime of the project.
I have a question. Just trying to make sure I understand what Ryan said also, and then what you all are going with. So no more solar farms can go up on anything zoned currently agriculture?
Correct.
Okay. So if you all wanted to use these 45 landowners' property, you would have to come back and get it rezoned for light or heavy industrial before you can continue with your project?
Believe that's what I've just heard.
So what guarantee is there that it's going to go back to agriculture after the solar farm?
Yeah.
There's none.
There's not.
So what you're saying then is not actually accurate, considering what we're talking about.
Well, they certainly had the possibility to resume farming, right? Materials are gone. We already talked about decommissioning, so you know that all the equipment's going to be removed. At that point, it's simply ground again.
And they can do with it what they want. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Do y'all have anything else you'd like to share with us tonight?
I was going to run through a few more things. What sort of economic impact would you expect as a result of your proposed project in the county?
Yeah, so you've got economic impacts, you've got the lease payments to the landowners themselves. You also economic impacts, you've got the impact of the construction term. So you've got a number of workers, as discussed, that would come into the area. They're using the hotels, the gas stations, the restaurants. I've seen significant booms and prosperity in communities over that period of time. In addition, what I've seen is landowner payments that are made. It's not just the benefit to the landowner itself. Give you a story. I met with a person who was opposed to a project in another state. He was late to the meeting, asked why, and he said he was late because he was painting another landowner's porch. And as we talked a bit more, he said that the landowner paid for the painting services with money received from the project. So it's not just for that landowner. So those are benefits. We already mentioned earlier the tax benefits within the community are substantial for this type of project.
What about impacts to property values?
Yeah, great question, valid question, and I'm certainly would have concerns, as we've heard, and undoubtedly will hear. So there's the anecdotal concern, and then there's the data-driven results. There are multiple studies. I was reading one today, Berkeley Labs, about multiple, looking at houses within projects, within proximity of projects and outside of projects over a period of time to determine if there's any type of impact from a solar project. time and time and time again for these independent studies, results are the same. There's no impact. There's no impact. People find that difficult to believe, but the studies prove the exact opposite.
Mr.
So
Chairman, may I
I would
jump
say,
in?
just one moment, sorry. I would say in this, I would hope that the commission would take time to review those types of documents, review those studies. You mentioned labor, talk to the union workers, right? What's their plan? What are their thoughts? Talk to the landowners who are involved with the projects as well. And use that information holistically before making a decision on what's been proposed.
Thank you. Mr. Bishop, you wanted to share something?
Yes, I would like to address the property values. I don't believe what the gentleman said is accurate, and you'll see this in the staff report. It's under the heading Impact of Solar Farms of Nearby Property Values. One Virginia Tech study said that properties within 3 miles saw a 4.8 decrease in property value. Another study, which is entitled Impact of Large-Scale Solar on Property Values in the United States, Diverse Effects and Cost Mechanisms, also showed that 4.8% reduction within 3 miles. And then it also showed a 7.2% reduction within a half mile of solar projects. And then if you'll keep looking, there's other examples of how it is documented to cause property value decrease.
Thank you. Anything else?
I'd like to respond to that. We haven't had the opportunity to review the staff report or any of the data that Mr. Bishop just mentioned. You know, again, there is a plethora of reports that say the exact opposite. For example, there's a study by the Georgia Institute of Technology that says there's no direct negative or positive spillover effect of a solar farm construction on nearby ag land values. Although there are no direct effects of solar farms on nearby ag land values, we do find evidence that suggests construction of a solar farm may create a small positive option value for landowners that is capitalized in land prices. So there's studies that support this impact of solar projects. So I think that statement by Mr. Bishop kind of shines a light on the fact that we would like the time to respond, to put more evidence in front of the commission that provides proof of these positive impacts and the economic impact of a project like this before moving forward with the text amendment. Again, there's a large pro-solar sentiment in the county as well. They just aren't as vocal. They're not here every week. It's spring break. There's a solar moratorium that's still in effect. There's time to still look at these issues, to research what's best. I would suggest if you don't reject this tonight, that you at least table it and allow some time to look into researching these issues. Talk to the involved landowners, talk to the local labor unions, talk to developers that have been in the community, because I think that there's a serious net positive from allowing continued development of these projects in the county that is going to be banned completely with this targeted text amendment here today.
Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We may need you back.
I have some questions for the
Excuse me. Anybody else here that would like to speak against these amendments?
Oh, yes.
That's what we're trying to, this is the other side. Your name, sir?
Ray Nix.
Your address?
I'm an admin director with Henderson Municipal Power and Light, 1213 Barrett Boulevard in Henderson.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, sir?
I do.
Please proceed.
I'm representing Henderson Municipal Power and Light this evening on behalf of Brad Bickett, General Manager, who unfortunately could not be here this evening. He's taking a spring break vacation with his family, very well needed. He wanted me to read into the record his comments and concerns as it relates to the proposed amendments to the comprehensive plan. A hard copy has been given to all the Plan Commission members, as well as the staff and the Plan Commission attorney. March 31st, 2026, addressed to Henderson City County Planning Commission, 1990 Barrett Court, Suite C, Henderson, Kentucky. And it's regarding amendment of Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan Goals and Objectives. Dear staff and members of the Planning Commission, Henderson Municipal Power and Light, HMP&L, appreciates the opportunity to comment on the proposed amendments to the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan, specifically the addition of new Objective K under Balancing Land Use, Goal 1, and new Objective I under Protecting Natural Systems, Goal 1. Good planning does not prohibit, it evaluates. The strength of a comprehensive plan lies in its ability to guide thoughtful decisions, not to eliminate them. HMP&L respectfully opposes the proposed objectives as currently drafted and requests that revised objectives consider the following points. Number one, new objectives are inconsistent with goals of comprehensive plan. Both Goal 1 statements contemplate appropriate planning and development, but the proposed objectives remove the ability to determine appropriateness based on location, design, and impact mitigation. A blanket prohibition is contrary to principle of balanced land use planning and eliminates the flexibility necessary for sound planning decisions. Number two, impact on public power and energy planning. As a municipal electric utility, HMP&L must maintain the ability to plan and procure a diverse portfolio of energy resources, which includes renewable generation. The proposed blanket prohibition would restrict HMP&L's ability to develop or partner in local solar projects that support reliability, cost stability, and long-term resource adequacy. It would also limit the utility's ability to respond to evolving regulatory, market, and environmental expectations. Number three, economic development and industrial competitiveness. HMP&L's large industrial customers are increasingly seeking access to renewable energy to meet corporate sustainability and procurement goals. The inability to develop or access local renewable resources could place Henderson County at a competitive disadvantage in retaining and attracting major employers. A categorical prohibition on solar development may undermine economic development objectives referenced elsewhere in your comprehensive plan. HMP&L recommends that new Objective K and Objective I be revised. Number one, to remove the categorical prohibition on solar development. Number two, to allow consideration of such renewable energy projects based on site suitability, design standards, and mitigation measures. And number three, preserve the ability of HMP&L and its customers to secure local renewable energy sources. HMP&L is committed to working collaboratively with the Henderson City and County, local stakeholders, and the Planning Commission to ensure that land use policies support community values and allows for necessary infrastructure to ensure long-term economic and energy sustainability. Respectfully submitted, Brad Bickett, General Manager of Henderson Municipal Power and Light. And at this time, we appreciate the opportunity to share our comments and concerns and hope that you consider these points as you deliberate on these amendments. Thanks again for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here tonight that would like to speak in opposition to these proposed amendments?
Good afternoon.
Your name, sir?
I'm Casey Richardson. I'm a business rep with the Central Midwest Regional Council of Carpenters.
Your address?
Ohio County, Kentucky.
You promise to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely do.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
First of all,
I want to say thank you for giving me a moment to speak. From Ohio County, Kentucky, resident, born and raised in Kentucky, would have been a fourth-generation farmer. I represent, I think we've got 187, don't count me on the exact number, but I think it's 187 members that we have living here in Henderson. So we actually do solar training in our facility located right across the river in Newburgh, Indiana. It's one of many things that we train all three of our crafts on. So we represent the millwrights, the carpenters, and the pile drivers. I have been reached out by Cordelia, been talking to them. There's nothing set in stone that will get this work. And on the last two solar projects that came up, I didn't come up here and speak. It was before I was a renewable lead for the council. So now they have appointed me a renewable lead. So my job for the last 3 years, I've been going out, I've been tracking these solar renewable projects. I've been seeing what kind of impact, if it's good for the community. I've actually talked to a lot of the residents here, a lot of them that are against it. I heard their opinions, I listened to their opinions, I gave them my opinions. Kentucky is one of probably the worst states when it comes to renewable energy. The Kentucky state laws are really vague. So these developers, they rushed into Kentucky when the RA came into effect because there wasn't any big ordinances. Illinois, New York, Ohio, they've got some really good ordinances out there. I'm not against an ordinance. I'm not against a comprehensive plan. When I seen the verbiage that came out on this one kind of scares me. Because not only do we build solar, we build all kinds of different renewable energy projects. And when I was looking at the way this was worded, I was like, I've got to get up here. I've got to talk to this community. I've got to get the facts out there. There is a lot of facilities these days that are coming out here, warehouses, car plants, data centers, which there's a lot of people against data centers. And you'll find that a lot of people has their own opinion depending on how it benefits them. For our organization, we're going to support any kind of project. The problem is in Kentucky, the majority of our work is in southern Indiana and northern Indiana. We don't get a whole lot of work right here in Kentucky. And the reason being is that the community and the elected officials, they don't back local workforce. So just like when these projects came up down here in Robards, I don't think there was one local workforce on that. I don't think these people got a reason not to be mad. They absolutely do. The roadways, they was horrible down there. They absolutely got a reason to be mad about the roadways. There is ways that this council can set up a planning. I am scared of this language, and that's what I wanted to come up here. I think it does need to be reworded because it could have a domino effect on future projects that are coming in and getting developed on here. The only thing I wanted to do tonight was protect the local workforce and protect the citizens here in Henderson. Put something in there. You can put domicile workforce language in these ordinances. And it can be 50% of Kentuckians working right here in Kentucky. And I'm not going to sit here and say I want it union or non-union. It doesn't matter to me as long as I see Kentucky license plates out there. I'm going to be happy. You can also put tax incentives in there, and you can put like an RBO language in there where you're getting certified payroll, so you can see that. Hey, listen, we are getting our occupational taxes right back here in Henderson. I bet if you went down there, a lot of them guys I know for a fact was getting 1099. Did they fill them out at the end of the year? Who knows? Did anybody check them, enforce them? That's the kind of stuff that I really think that y'all should be looking at. Really, the way this is worded, it almost does put a ban on future projects. If a facility was coming in here and they was going to put their own industrial powerhouse there, that whether it's wind, solar, or any kind of renewable, it would stop that project.
That's not accurate. That is not accurate. It specifically says off-site distribution. So, for example, if someone wanted to come in and have their own solar array, they can do that. That is not accurate.
Okay.
Mr. Richardson, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so is your union would not be against an affordable way for landowners in our county to get off the grid, to have their own solar systems in their yard or on their houses or something like that. correct?
We absolutely wouldn't if it was built local.
And this is, reading the language, large-scale solar energy systems. I mean, we're talking about thousands of acres of industrial energy production. That's what this prevents. It doesn't prevent people or small landowners or a new factory or a warehouse to put, solar panels or even a windmill out back to help generate power so they can get off the grid and not have to rely on large-scale energy production, right?
It depends on what kind of facility it is.
With your
If you take Century Aluminum, I doubt that solar field and road boards could produce enough energy to even supply
That's especially-
Century.
Yeah, Centuries, it takes tons of power.
Yep. And the other thing, as a Kentucky boy, I own farmland.
Does it have solar panels on it?
If somebody offered me, I would sell it. The tobacco farm, we was tobacco farmers. Philip Morris came in there, they bought out everything, they bought out large crop grounds, and you could not make a living as a small-time farmer doing tobacco. And so as a Kentucky resident, I'm sitting here looking, anytime a farmer goes and decides, hey, I'm getting out of farming, I'm not making enough money, and they want to do something with their land, then all of a sudden the community comes in, there's, oh, you can't do that with your land. But now if he wanted to build a hog or chicken farms, I got chicken and hog farms right beside my house. They stink. And yes, it ain't my land on that part, and I couldn't tell that farmer what to do. Yes, I don't like it, but it isn't my job to say, no, you couldn't build a hog farm. You couldn't build a chicken farm. It's his land. And so what has happened, it's always about who is benefiting from that. And that's what kills me about Kentucky. We get caught up in the birds and the bees, and we're not sitting here looking at the large impact, and that's their land. If they want to sell it, if they want to lease it out, they're no longer done farming. Where is it right for all of us to sit there and say they can't lease it out to a solar farm? But the problem I do have is that the community doesn't back up the local workforce, and they don't back up the tax dollars. We've got school projects all across western Kentucky that are doing tax fraud, worker misclassification. I have took this to state senators, I've took it to Congress, nobody will listen to me. I've took it to judge executives, and every time they just blow it off. So I do think there needs to be an ordinance, I do think there needs to be a comprehensive plan. I think y'all need to do your homework and make sure that this is the right one for this community.
Thank you, sir. Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay. Folks, if y'all don't mind, I think we need to take a little break. How about 10 minutes? Okay, folks. Thank you very much. Sorry for the disruption there for a second. Back to the topic. I think we're hearing from people at this point in the evening, people who are in opposition to these proposed amendments. Anyone else out there would like to address it in that fashion? Please, ma'am. Name, please.
My name's Holly Vincent,
Your address?
1920 Busby Station Road, Roberts, Kentucky.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Always.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am.
I'd like to address what Ray Nix said from Bryant Bickard. I do agree with what Hempel has put into the record, that I do find this to be very restrictive and your wording to be rather subjective. There's one thing that really stands out to me is the encouragement of diverse economic development. I feel by limiting renewables and making this such an subjective wording, you are limiting your ability to expand your portfolio for energy for Henderson County. What economic development you do have would be stalled in most likelihood. As we move forward in the future, we're going to have industry and different manufacturing that wants to come in, and as part of their requirements are going to be the usage of renewables. If we do not have that to offer them, then we refer back to what we have coming out of Big Rivers, which is going to impose rate hikes on Kenergy, is going to impose rate hikes on Hempel. They are dependent on Big Rivers for power now at this time because they decommissioned their unit out there, 4 years ago, I think. I think that we need to be open-minded going forward. If we have to take some of our farmland, that happens. What we can get for our energy with our leases does secure some financial stability for farmers. There's a lot of buzzwords going around about legacies, retirement. We're all entitled. It isn't a position. Kurt, you asked what the lease was. Tell me what your yearly wage is. It's between me and my accountant. You have a big task in front of you. It has to be objective. This is very emotional. Everyone's emotions are high. It has to be objective. It has to be beneficial for all of Henderson, just not a few or those that yell the loudest. Where are the landowners? They're at home. They're watching on TV. Where are the landowners? They're talking to the people they need to talk to. We are concerned. We are looking at our future, not just our own future, but those of our children, our neighbors, our grandchildren, and the people that'll come on after us. You have a big task in front of you. I hope that you take it seriously and not as just an off-the-cuff thing. We have to think of our future. We have to think of our needs. You like having light switches. You like having your technology. You like having energy. Energy is our electricity. Don't think of it as anything else. Any power you get is electricity. It runs your life. It does your health care. It does your education. It feeds your family. It buries your family. It allows you to go on and prosper. So please think hard and think seriously about the decisions that you're going to make, what you want to do. We can sit and argue all night, but let's come to something that we all can live with as a community. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else like to speak in opposition to these amendments? Anyone else have anything else they'd like to add in any fashion? Sir? Your name?
Steve Bickwarmer.
Your address?
14834 Highway 1078 South.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And thank y'all all for letting me up here. I didn't come with a piece of paper. I come with emotions. I'm sorry about that, but you know, you work all your life, you finally do get to retire, just like she was talking. And somebody's going to build an industrial complex around your house. So that's why I'm here. I don't want that industrial complex around my house. I moved to the county for a reason. I like the 650 cap on the solar panels. I like to sit on my back porch. Up here earlier, we had a couple up here. One's asking questions. They're from out of state. I'd like to ask how many solar panels or wind turbines are around their house. Can they see any from their house? Then the next thing I'd like to ask is, they don't live here, right? We're letting someone from out of town tell us what we're going to live with. The leases that they got 45 people. How many of those people are good neighbor agreements? Where the good neighbor here, I'll give you so much a month if you don't talk about it. You know, that's just a good neighbor agreement. That doesn't mean they agree with it. I go up and around the wind turbines and solar panels and ask somebody, and they'll tell you, oh, well, I ain't got nothing to say. It's because they're getting paid not to say nothing. They may not have any land there. So you're benefiting 35. They say they got 45. You're benefiting 35 people and their retirement. I believe we got more than 35 people that live in the county that's retired and trying to make a living. You're looking at housing. Where are you going to put it? We got a toll on the bridge, on this new bridge coming. We're going to have a toll on it. If you work in Evansville, why would you pay $10 a day or 20, 15, whatever to get to Evansville if you got a good job over there? Well, I know why. Well, because I can go home and sit on my back porch here. I can look at my county. But if you're going to put put me up in the middle of an industrial farm, I'm going to move to Evansville. I'm going to find someplace else. Y'all won't have to worry about housing if you bring this in. That's all I got to say. And thank y'all again. I want you to consider the people of the county, not 35 people. Well, yeah, consider them too. I mean, don't leave them out. I know why Cordelia's here. They're here because they're wanting to feed their family. I'm not opposed to I am opposed to what they're doing, but they need to go up there and do it where they live. They need to do it in their backyard. Power that we're going to generate, you think any of us will see it? I don't think so. I don't know what else to say. I didn't bring any papers. I sat home and think about it all the time. I could write it down. It don't come out unless it comes out of me. I can't read somebody else's paper. I'm not a lawyer, I can't. But evidently we had a lawyer that's kind of like a lawyer here, and I'm going to ask questions. It's rehearsed. It's wrote down. It's rehearsed. They've done it somewhere else before. Thank y'all. Sorry.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir, your name?
Rick Thompson, 4409 State Route 416 West, Roberts, Kentucky.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you guys listening tonight, and I know you have a tough job ahead, and I come in support of the amendment the way it is. I find it a little disingenuous to have the companies that are going to be putting these programs in Henderson County to come and try to tell us how they would like to see it done. We saw that with the individuals talking about it being a ban, a prohibition. We saw it with Cordelia come before to present the 5-page ordinance that they wrote themselves to present to the Planning Commission to have us institute for this county. We, the county, the members of this commission, should be the ones setting forth the guidelines that we choose to see in our county, what we want to see as far as the economic growth. The economic growth of the 6,000 acres of solar panels. I heard the gentleman from HLP talk about evaluation of any process that did. Aren't that what we're doing? Aren't we evaluating what we see put in Roberts? 6,000 acres of solar panels, surrounded houses. Aren't we as a commission evaluating that and deciding enough's enough? 6,000 is all we need? We need to go on to something else? Don't we evaluate the 200 feet tall wind turbines and say that's as high as we go? The 700 feet will be seen in Owensboro. Got the gentleman from the Owensboro here tonight. His concern is, how is stuff in Henderson County going to impact Owensboro? How's it going to impact Vandenberg County? They saw ahead. They put prohibitions on all these things. We see the discussion of economic growth, electricity. Yeah, we all need electricity. I think that's a common point that everybody understands. We also look at what is the cost of producing solar and renewable versus coal-fired, LNG, liquefied natural gas used for coal plants. If we start looking at that versus what the renewables is going to gain us, there's no comparison. When we start looking at the loss of tax value on our properties, the gentleman mentioned that study after study, he's seen there's no relevant impact. Well, through my wife's research and my research, there is impact, as much as 30 to 50%. What happens when that tax value of your home start reducing the tax value of the companies that comes into our county? I heard it talk about our children's and grandchildren having places for business. But what happens when our discover our nature, tourism? I have a daughter that owns a business and runs a business on 2nd Street. What happens when the people stop coming because we're surrounded by solar panels and windmills, and we have what little tax money coming in from that, but we have no tourism, we have no industry? Where do our kids and grandkids go then? They leave. I think what you guys are doing with this wording on this particular is right. You know, it should be. You know, we're not banning, we're not prohibition against things. We are deciding the direction of Henderson County. And I think if we do that and we have Henderson County the best in mind and the people, I think you guys can make the right decision. So thank you.
I know everybody's getting tired. I just have a couple of questions and a couple of comments. My name is Melody Thompson. I'm still at 4409 State Route, and I still promise to tell the truth.
Thank you.
Is there anybody here that has done the math on the percentage of land use that's already covered in Henderson County with renewable energy?
I was just doing some quick and dirty math using the USDA number of roughly 180,000 acres of farmland and the roughly 6,000 we have. It's between 3% and 4%, which, if I remember correctly from the Hendersonian article, it stated that the national average is 2% of agricultural land is in solar across the nation.
Okay, I did a quick search and it showed me 95% of it was under 0.5%, so that might not be accurate. But to me, the percentages and considering this language of this ordinance change and all that you guys have to decide, we have to look at the big picture too, and how much of it, I think one of the commissioners said, how much of it is too much or how much is enough. 6,013 acres. Seems like maybe we've done our share. I shared with the land use hearing recently about some of the economic impact, so if you would take a quick look back at that, the economic impact in 2023 for 1 year was $95.7 million. For agriculture, for 2022, it was $149 million for 1 year. And it's only, the numbers I had were only associated with the wind turbines, but what Cordelia proposed initially was this was going to provide, just for wind, $14.8 million over the life of the whole project. That's 30 years. So if you really do the math, and I'm not the math person, you look at with the potential for economic impact on tourism and ag alone, then you really have to be careful when you're moving this around. If you're thinking you're just going to get tax income from more renewable projects. So take a look at that, and I would urge you to, I can't remember, did I do a presentation on bias and research to the commission, or was that fiscal court?
You did it here.
Okay, look back at it and look at some of these research projects that were, I'm reading them all. Look at all of them that either side present to you. Take a little bit of time. We're spending hours and hours of research. We're not just throwing this stuff out here. A lot of that research is biased. You look past where the source is, even if it says it's an independent study, and see what's the largest contributor for a university, or what percentage of the university income from donation comes from renewable energy. That doesn't guarantee it's biased, but we're smart people. We can think if they're getting X percent of their income from renewable energy, they're going to be really careful with research. So I want you to just look back at it, because that's what we're doing. We're looking behind all of it. And the property value over the last 15 years has slanted directly towards renewable energy in the research. You can't miss it if you look back 25 years and really look at all of the numbers. And you add to that the number of people that many of us are talking to from one end of this country to the other, from all walks of life, and hearing their stories about how they have dealt with this process, what it looks like in their small rural towns, what the aftermath looks like if they ended up with a large industrial complex in the middle of their rural community. Just as a reference, a quick story, I spoke to a woman the other day whose family had been on their farm for 11 generations, and they were walking away. And she just wept. She said, we have no choice. So when we talk to these other people, that's subjective. That's not going to be in any data anywhere, but that's not all we're doing. We're trying to look closer. A lot of this research is not going to capture the real world impact on some of these families that end up surrounded by one form of renewable energy or another. We're not opposed to progress. We want it to be responsible and in balance with what our community is. And I ask you to please consider this language and this language change in the ordinance. And I appreciate your time and all the work you guys are having to do.
Yes, ma'am.
Shannon Hill again. One thing I just want to bring up, or the point to make, is I know we keep talking about the 6,050 acres, but we have to remember, and the gentleman did not answer the question earlier, but their scope of their project is over 30,000 farm land acres. 30,000 acres in addition to, the 6,013 or whatever that we already have. How Ms. Thompson talked about going to the source. I went to the source. That is a wind turbine at 297 feet. That was in Leroy, Illinois. I don't think anybody would want to live beside that. Thank you.
We have no time limit tonight.
Oh,
We-
don't
we-
say that.
Well, we failed to use our usual speaking rules. So, how can you help us?
Deirdre McConaughey, I have a couple of bulleted points in response to, and I want to pronounce your name correctly. I believe it's Miss Eckert. And so I'd like for her to address some of these points. Some of them are comments, some are questions. I did not bring my stack of materials. I frankly was hoping this would be easier than it's, but here we are. So some of this is going to be from memory, and I can provide the documents later.
but the first point I wanted to make is that a statement was made by Ms. Eckert to the effect that in our comprehensive plan that there is verbiage that says that we need to have mixed development. And I have studied that. I don't have it with me tonight, but perhaps even Brian or Jennifer could back me up on this. Yes, there is language that says we need to look out for development. But I know for a fact that in several instances in our current comprehensive plan, it specifically says the protection of prime farm, agricultural farmland. It talks about harmonious development of compatible uses. And it even speaks about the aesthetics and viewpoint for cultural and heritage preservation. So that is in our current comprehensive plan. So I don't know how well you've studied it, but I've lived, many a night reading through that. The other thing that Ms. Eckert said is that this solar array complex would be suggested anyway, that it might be good for the land because eventually it would be returned. They would remove, I believe the inference was, they would remove the panels, the soil would have rested, and it would be excellent farmland. Well, from Cordelio, that Pattern purchased, I learned the term repowering, because I said, well, what's going to happen at the end of these 30-year leases? And at that point, part of the reveal is that the people that originally signed the lease will maybe have passed on, or their heirs are here or not here, and so they just get them to re-sign leases. So it's part of the game is that this doesn't just go away at 30 years and they say, hi, we're here to put your ag land all right now. It's either repowered, or it's been destroyed, or bankrupt, or they've moved on to nuclear energy. So the idea that it's just going to, that you in any way can guarantee through decommissioning that it's going back to ag, and Ms. Commissioner Denton pointed out a very big flaw, which is that if it's required for it to be rezoned to light or heavy industrial, that means that it's not just magically going back to ag anyway, because that person would have to request rezoning. This one hurts me, which is the reference by Ms. Eckert that the land would be in such good shape. And I, as a farm girl and someone who reads about soil health and marvels and admires at the advances that farmers have done to protect soil health, I found that to be, in a kind way, I'll say, not very well informed about the agricultural components of the land. When you put in industrial energy projects, you do run the risk of chemical toxins. You run the risk of drainage changes that affect all of the crop that might be planted there. You run the risk of compaction. You run the risk of material and debris when you get a hailstorm or a tornado, and suddenly you've got pieces of foreign material embedded into your field, and I could go on. So I think when we talk about protecting agricultural land, it's not just because we like to see our sunrise, sunset. That soil is precious. It takes 100 years to make an inch of soil, and you can lose it in the time it takes to put in a. So studying and understanding the impact on the soil health is important to me. On the issue of property values, I believe both of you spoke to that, and I personally can vouch for you that the issue of property values is fraught because the industry, the industrial energy industry, essentially hires experts. So Ms. Thompson is exactly correct. There's a lot of bias. And so you can find the Berkeley Labs study that was cited, but that is an energy-sponsored. I will look into it. I will double-check myself. I do not want to lie under oath, okay? But you need to be careful of that. What I personally know is, you may remember way back in the day, when Tenaska, coming here to build Bess, came to me, and I asked about property values, they sent me a little paragraph in an email. And it said, Richard Kirkland says that there's no problem with property values. So, in his study. So of course, I asked for this study. To this day, I've never gotten it. By email, in writing, 3 times I asked for that study. Since I never got it, what do I do? But I went and did my own research, and I found some studies from Mr. Kirkland, and he's a hired gun doing property valuation for these companies, and never finds a problem. So I did my research, and Best at that time were so new that you could hardly find anything on property values. It's hard enough to find it on wind or solar, but Best was like trying to find, like how much a unicorn costs, it was just ridiculous. But I did find some, and furthermore, none of the studies that Mr. Kirkland did, they're in Texas, they're in California, they're on wholly different, they're not comparable. And Tenaska never answered to that. So on the issue of property values, that's like gaslighting you, I mean, you've got to ask for specifics. Well, first of all, you got to get it, which I never did from Tenaska. Point number 5. So it's unfortunate you did not have materials ahead of time to review. No one here in this community speaking had those materials ahead of time either. But you were basically saying to our executive director that you didn't have a chance to look at the studies that he was citing. But you stood here and then didn't provide us any studies. You just gave us your thoughts. So you cited, I think one of you cited a Georgia study and so on. Well, then show up and show your studies. It works both ways. Number 6. Last one, the law. I'm not a lawyer, but there are some in attendance, and I personally have some, not here tonight. So I leave it to the lawyers. But I also leave it to we citizens with common sense. It is, and we hear the refrain over and over again, and this had to do, I think his name was Richardson, the union fellow. Yeah, and you were talking about your hog farm, and on the other side is a chicken farm and so on. Who am I to say what they can do with their land? The law says you do have something to say about it. If that's really terrible, there are things called nuisance laws. It's hard work, but the law works for both parties, and it should work for us here as well when we say, if you're leasing a property infringes on my enjoyment of my property, then we got to work some things out, and in fact, legally. But the wholesale belief that it's their land, they get to do whatever they want on it, should be dismissed. Because that's why we have good laws and good lawyers and smart people that can figure that out. And I think that's pretty much all I'd have to say about that.
Anyone else have something they'd like to bring forward? If not, I'm going to ask the executive director to read a proposed resolution for the commission to consider.
Yes, this is at the tables of the Plan Commission members. It is the one that is titled Recommendation of Henderson City County Plan Commission for the amendment of goals and objectives of Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan, the comprehensive plan of any of its members' resolution dated April 7th, 2026. Whereas by this resolution, the Henderson City County Plan Commission proposes to amend the goals and objectives of the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan or the comprehensive plan of any of the members of the Henderson City County Plan Commission as more fully herein set out as it pertains to certain large-scale solar energy systems providing off-site capacity, LSSESOC, commonly referred to as solar farms, and Roberts and the unincorporated areas of Henderson County proposed goals and objective amendment. Whereas the Planning Commission has effected publication of notice on April 7, 2026, public hearing on such amendment and this is where we're going to plug in language suggested by Mr. Friday, in the Hendersonian and the Gleaner, the appropriate newspapers for legal notice on or about March 17, 2026. Whereas such public hearing was held as part of the April 7, 2026 regular meeting, which regular meeting started at 6 p.m. at the regular meeting place at the following address: Henderson Municipal Center, 222 First Street, 3rd floor, Assembly Room, Henderson, Kentucky, 42420. Whereas all material, slides, exhibits, reports, documents, correspondence, and photographs filed before or during April 7, 2026, public hearing before the Planning Commission by any person or entity were accepted in the record as evidence of the public hearing or incorporated herein by reference and were considered. Whereas the material, slides, exhibits, reports, documents, correspondence, photographs, and/or testimony or comments regarding LSSESOC have been presented and/or filed before or during previous public hearings before the Planning Commission are incorporated herein by reference as some of the same way some may have been considered. Whereas all persons who have wanted to attend and/or speak, testify, and/or ask questions, etc., at the April 7, 2026 public hearing comment were permitted to do so in compliance with applicable Kentucky law, and all such comments and any and all other evidence submitted into the record, both before and after publication or at the public hearing, is incorporated herein by reference and is included in and is a part of the record, collectively the administrative record or previous public hearings. Whereas the proposed G and O amendment does not address the restrict small my mouth's getting dry, or restricts small scale solar energy systems, SCSES, of 10 acres or less serving individual residents, businesses, or industrial facilities designated to primarily meet on-site energy needs. Whereas the Commission finds that the research component of the currently existing comprehensive plan is pertinent, part and valid and adequate. Whereas the Planning Commission finds that the proposed G&O amendment should be adopted by the Planning Commission and recommended to the legislative bodies of the planning unit based on testimony, comment, documentary evidence, and the record of this and other public meetings. Whereas approximately 6,000 acres of Henderson County are currently occupied by or permitted by the Henderson County Planning Commission, and where applicable, the Henderson County Board of Zoning Adjustment. To date, LSSESOC, considerably more than 6,000 acres, are taken out of use when considered setbacks and other matters. Whereas the Commission finds that future development of LSSESOC, i.e. future development and construction of LSSESOC, which have not been permitted by the Henderson County Planning Commission and where applicable the Henderson County Board of Adjustment, to date is inconsistent with the community's aesthetic values, preservation of agricultural land, encouragement of diverse economic development, preservation of nearby property values, environmental protection, and health, safety, and welfare in general. Now, therefore, the Commission, upon consideration of the proposed G&O amendment, has set forth below any findings of any person or entity of the Planning Commission, both before and since publication of the notice of the public hearing regarding LSSESOC, the written records since publication of the notice of the public hearing regarding the written record of any previous public hearings before the Planning Commission regarding LSSESOC, KRS 100, the entirety of the comprehensive plan and the pertinent zoning ordinances of any member of the Henderson City County Planning Commission, hereby adopts the following and hereby recommends that the City of Henderson, the City of Corden, and/or the Henderson County Fiscal Court amend the goals and objectives of the comprehensive plan by adding the following language, which is in bold and underlined. Balancing land use. Goal 1, wisely plan for local land use in appropriate locations, maximize quality design, and minimize the adverse impacts of development. Add new objective K, Notwithstanding anything to the contrary to this, in this comprehensive plan, goals 1 above is deemed to be inconsistent with additional or new development of large-scale solar energy systems, providing off-site capacity, LSSESOC, commonly referred to as solar farms, in the Roberts and the unincorporated areas of Henderson County. Such new or additional development should be prohibited as contrary to the community's aesthetic values, preservation of agricultural land, encouragement of diverse economic development, preservation of nearby property values, environmental protection, health, safety, and welfare in general. Protecting natural systems, goal 1, protect and enhance the quality of the natural environment while permitting appropriate development on suitable lands. Add new objective I. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary in this comprehensive plan, goals 1 above is deemed to be inconsistent with additional or new development of large-scale solar energy systems providing off-site capacity, LSSESOC, commonly referred to as solar farms in Roberts and the unincorporated areas of Henderson County. Such new or additional development should be prohibited as contrary to the community's aesthetic values, preservation of agricultural land, encouragement of diverse economic development, preservation of nearby property values, environmental protection, and health, safety, and welfare in general. This resolution authorizes and directs the chair of the commission and/or plan commission staff to forthwith to take all appropriate action to forward this recommendation and the complete administrative record of the April 7, 2025 public hearing to the City of Henderson, the City of Corydon, and the Henderson County Fiscal Court, bearing all the members of the Henderson City County Plan Commission unit. Motion having been made by blank, seconded by blank, and the following Plan Commission members voted in favor of the foregoing recommendation in the form of a motion. And then from there, it has the undersigned, I'm sorry, and the following Plan Commission members, if any, voted against the foregoing recommendation. And then there's signature line for myself and/or, I believe, Chairman Dixon.
Okay, so what we have there is a resolution that could stand instead of a motion, the resolution in favor of these amendments. Anyone else in the audience have anything they'd like to add tonight before we move this forward? Or not? Sir?
Yeah, check.
Yes.
Hi, Kenneth Chip Redling with Pattern Energy. Just a couple comments on the statements that were made this evening. As far as the proof, or with for certain with the solar project referred back to agricultural land, or would it go to solar? That's going to be renegotiated leases. It's not automatic, and it would be another project that would have to be permitted and approved. So it would not, I just wanted to state that, make that clear. As far as the needs, energy needs, we talked about that before. We all know we need it. We need it now. If there's new industry that wants to come in the community, I believe there was a lot of controversy about data centers, but regardless, whatever that industry may be, is going to require energy. The cheapest form of new energy is solar, seconded by wind, and also very quick to construct. So these projects, solar project is, let's say, 12 to 18 months to construct, which then can immediately begin providing energy into the grid for use. Just wanted to comment that. As far as the communities, going back to communities with operating projects and talking to those persons, I've done that. Especially for wind projects. I recognize we're focused on solar. Every instance when I've gone back to a project that I've developed with operating turbines and asked the landowners, both those who have signed agreements and persons randomly, in every instance they've stated they don't recognize the wind turbines. They fade in the background just like power lines. We don't recognize them now. It's exactly what has happened. Just wanted to state that well. I think that's important. Finally, panels myself, I have them on my roof. A bit of a different experience, but definitely I personally support solar energy. So again, we ask that this is tabled that the commission take time to review the record that was presented tonight, also additional materials before making a decision. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Just to add a comment as well, Mr. Chairman. Again, we didn't have the opportunity to review the staff report. We haven't seen the reports that were included with that. Again, like Mr. Redling said, we'd like the chance to respond to this. If this is tabled, we can address more evidence that directly goes to the points that were brought up this evening. I also want to make a point that decommissioning requires the land be returned to its previous use. That's the law in the state of Kentucky. And again, I think, speaking to Mr. Redling's proposed project, a lot of these will be on the surface mining lands anyway. Yes. So that's something to be mindful of here too. And the ban that's going to be included as a result of the text amendment would impact that as well. So please, we ask for a table so that we have more time to address this and make sure that the commission has the opportunity to review all the evidence on both sides of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Your name,
Bobby
sir?
Dick Wormer.
Address?
2448 Old Noblick Road, Henderson, Kentucky.
You promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
Yes,
but the
sir,
truth?
sure do. I lived in Roberts from 1992 to 2002. I know a lot of people out there, still friends with them. The community is broken because some people leased land, some didn't. They're all mad at one another, the ones that signed, because they got solars around them. But the people I know wish they had painted their own porch, like this guy had an example. And I'm retired, I'm 71 years old. I worked at Alcan all my life, made a decent living. But for an example, most of us in here are blue-collar workers. What we've got, we've worked and paid for. I've been retired now, going on 9 years. But the old boy I worked with, he's dead now, and for an example, looked up, we had to work double shifts a lot, 7-day rotating shift. I've done that for over 20 years. I worked down there for 30. I was off one weekend a month for over about 24 years, but that doesn't matter. But we had an old boy down there, he's dead now. You start working all this overtime, doubles, and it always stuck to me. We was in the lunchroom, said, "Dave, what are you fixing to buy?" He said, "All I want to do is keep the junk I got." And that's all we want to do, is keep the junk that we have, our view. And I appreciate y'all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to add something? Does the commission have any comments on this? Any questions that we need to track down? Okay. I'm not hearing anything, so as I say, the resolution that Mr. Bishop read into the record stands as a potential motion. Obviously, the crowd and other people have suggested some other courses of action. I think it's time that we entertain a motion in regard to the amendment to the current goals and objectives of the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan. Everyone has had their moment to speak, their moments perhaps. What is the pleasure of the commission?
Mr. Chairman, is this a recommendation to the city commission or just a recommendation to?
This would be a recommendation to the city commission, fiscal court, and city council. Correct?
Correct. Mr. Chairman, I make a recommendation to approve the amendments of the goals and objectives of the Henderson City County Comprehensive Plan to the City Commission, to the Fiscal Court, and to the City Court.
Second.
Yes, adopting the resolution, yes.
We have a motion and a second? Do we have a second? Any further discussion by the commission? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kevin Richard.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Mac Arnold.
Yes.
Dickie Johnson.
Yes.
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Gray Hodge.
No.
Stacy Denton.
Yes.
Frank Boyette.
Yes.
Kurt Hamilton.
Yes.
Very good. Motion passes. Okay, now I'll entertain a motion to leave public hearing.
So moved.
Second. A motion and second. Any discussion? We're all in favor of leaving public hearing, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Very good. We're out of public hearing. We'll pause for a second. We got more work to do, but if you all are heading out, that's fine. Appreciate it.
Or do we have to come back and more to finish up?
We're going to try to finish it up right now. We'll get to other business in a moment. We got other business before we get to that.
Thank you all. Appreciate it. With the exception of one.
Okay, if you all don't mind, we're going to continue with the meeting, okay? We got more work to do. First order of business now is the March finance report. Okay, Ms. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In front of you is the March financials. We are currently at 77% of our budget, and that's 9 months in. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for staff concerning the finance report? I'll entertain a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, or any discussion? All in favor of approval, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Finance report is approved. Apparently, we have no bond report. We're moving on to administrative business. Ms. Allen, I think you've got the findings of fact for rezoning 1182.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rezoning 1182 is a graphic development plan submitted by Sarah Hutchinson Revocable Living Trust for the property located in the city of Henderson at 2560 Highway 60 East, being parcel ID number 65-22.5, containing approximately 6.03 acres. The applicant has requested a zoning change map amendment with a development plan to rezone from agricultural to highway commercial. A proposed motion, I move that the Planning Commission recommend that the Henderson Board of Commissioners, the city, approve rezoning application 1182, changing the zoning classification from agricultural to highway commercial to develop a Goodwill retail store, subject to approval of an engineered site plan and a major subdivision review and approval by the Planning Commission. I leave the motion open for other members of the Planning Commission to add findings of fact in support of this motion because the proposed rezoning is consistent with the future land use map of the comprehensive plan and other elements of the current comprehensive plan. Planning staff presented the request to the Planning Commission at its March 3rd, 2026 regular meeting and summarized the application of the proposed development as including an approximately 20,100 square foot building, associated parking, walkways, and approximately 600 linear feet of new public street. Staff further advised that if the requested rezoning map amendment is approved, it should be approved subject to future review and approval of a subdivision application and engineered site plan. Planning staff testified that the future land use map shows the area as developing in a commercial nature and stated that the rezoning process concerns land use rather than a specific retailer or operator. The applicant, through counsel, testified that the property is located on the Highway 60 corridor between the I-69 interchange and the Cloverleaf, that the corridor is planned for commercial development, and that the proposed highway commercial zoning is consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use map. The applicant presented evidence that the proposed project would involve an estimated $5 million to $6 million investment, would retain the existing Goodwill location in Henderson, then would create a second location, and would include construction of the public street at the developer's expense. The applicant's engineer testified that the site would utilize an existing signalized intersection, would not create a new entrance directly onto Highway 60 East, and that the public street would be designed and constructed to applicable standards as part of the subdivision regulations and site plan engineering process. The record reflects staff's testimony that no portion of the subject property lies within the floodplain, and testimony from the applicant's engineer that survey boundaries and later engineering review would govern site design and public improvements. Opponents and concerned citizens presented testimony raising concerns about traffic, gateway appearance, compatibility with nearby residences, property values, drainage, wildlife buffering, landscaping, and whether a Goodwill store was the preferred use for this location. The Planning Commission further finds that the objections and concerns raised by the neighboring property owners and other citizens were considered. The proposed rezoning is also in agreement with the following additional elements of the adopted comprehensive plan. Balancing land use. Goal 1, wisely plan for land uses in appropriate locations to maximize quality design and minimize the adverse impacts of development. Objective F, encourage an innovative, safe, and sustainable design for new development and/or infrastructure. Objective H, promote aesthetically pleasing commercial development with appropriate access, signage, and landscaping while discouraging strip commercial development. Protecting natural systems, goal number 1. Protect and enhance the quality of the natural environment while permitting appropriate development on suitable lands. Objective A, encourage innovative design on sites with constraints based on the presence of natural systems and incentivize the protection of quality open space. To be attached with this motion to City Commission would be the graphic development plan that you all reviewed at last month's meeting. And then in addition to the above summary, a full transcript of the public hearing is attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference to provide a better understanding of the proceedings.
Any
Second
questions
that
from the
motion.
commission? Excuse me?
I'll second that motion.
So moved.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve these findings of fact in relation to rezoning 1182? Is that the motion?
That's the motion.
Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Kurt Hamilton. Frank Boyette.
Yes.
Stacy Denton.
Yes.
Gray Hodge.
Yes.
Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Dickie Johnson. Mac Arnold.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Kevin Richard.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Motion passes. Next item are findings of fact in connection with the BES moratorium. Mr. Bishop, can you help us with that, please?
Yes, sir. The proposed motion and recommendations regarding proposed text amendment creating section 32.06 moratorium, Henderson County zoning ordinance. The Henderson City County Plan Commission held a regular meeting on Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026, to conduct a public hearing to consider, among other things, a proposed text amendment to the Henderson County zoning ordinance regarding battery energy storage system, or BES. The Henderson County resolution originating the text amendment is set out verbatim in the attached transcript and is herein referred to as proposed BES moratorium ordinance. After hearing testimony, the Plan Commission voted on March 3rd, 2026, regular meeting to recommend that the Henderson County Fiscal Court make certain changes to the proposed text amendment originated by the county as it further enumerated below, and the Plan Commission voted to table the matter until the next regular meeting for staff to prepare a proposed motion and recommendation that are consistent with the record and the public hearing for the Plan Commission to consider, and that the public hearing not be reopened. Motion, I move that the action of the March 3rd, 2026 meeting making recommendations to fiscal court be and hereby are ratified and confirmed, and I move that the Plan Commission recommend that fiscal court change the proposed text amendment by inserting into moratorium language in section 32.06 that the moratorium remain in effect until approximately 2 years after the fiscal court's final action adopting this moratorium text amendment, which may be approximately May 2nd, 2028, The Planning Commission recommends adding Section 32.06, moratorium to Article 32, battery energy storage systems, read as follows, or read as follows, excuse me. Number 2, moratorium. The remainder of this zoning ordinance and all other ordinances notwithstanding, there is hereby opposed a moratorium on the filing, processing, review, and acceptance by the Henderson Fiscal Court, the Henderson City County Planning Commission, the Henderson County Board of Zoning Adjustment, the Henderson County Codes Administrator, or any other department, subdivision, agency, board, or commission of Henderson County government of any and all applications for rezonings, conditional use permits, building permits, or other types of applications for all Tier 2 battery energy storage systems. This moratorium shall remain in effect until 2 years after the ordinance amending the Henderson County zoning ordinance, adding a new section entitled Article 32.06 Moratorium by the Henderson County Fiscal Court, or until such time as amendments to this article, if any, are approved by the Henderson County Fiscal Court, whichever comes first, unless such moratorium is repealed or extended. Reasons, transcript, summary, and findings of fact. A full transcript of the March 3rd, 2026 public hearing is attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference to provide a full and complete record of the public hearing and the Planning Commission's actions, recommendations, and reasons which are based on such record. The primary reasons for the recommendation to allow the Henderson City County Planning Commission Fiscal Court an opportunity to begin process of begin a process of review potential amendments to the Henderson County zoning ordinance concerning Tier 2 battery energy storage systems to strengthen said ordinance and respond to public concern. Based on the testimony of staff and the public, the Planning Commission determines that additional time for study is reasonable and appropriate because the county may benefit from reviewing model ordinances and best practices from other jurisdictions. The technology and chemistry associated with BESS facilities continue to develop. Additional expert input may assist the county in evaluating fire suppression, safety, and potential environments or toxicological issues, and additional time would allow more deliberate consideration of possible revisions to the current ordinance. All other matters are submitted by those testifying are attached to and incorporated into the transcript. The record supports staff's recommendation that the moratorium should run approximately for 2 years after the date of the fiscal court's final action, rather than expire on the fixed date originally proposed. Staff explained that a 2-year period would better align with the best moratorium with prior wind and solar moratorium timeframes and would provide a meaningful period for review. Public testimony also supported a full 2-year period so that the effective review window would not be shortened by the time required for adoption, etc. Testimony in favor of the proposed text amendment came from staff and from a member of the public, Deidre McConaughey. In summary, the testimony supported a temporary moratorium to permit careful review and strengthening of the existing BESS ordinance to allow consultation with experts to consider relevant publications to account for developments in BESS technology and fire suppression methods, and to ensure that any moratorium period is long enough to accomplish those purposes. No member of the public spoke in opposition to the moratorium text amendment at the March 3rd public hearing.
Any questions from the commission for staff regarding these findings of fact? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt the motion and findings of facts as read.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Thank you. Kurt Hamilton.
Yes.
Frank Boyette.
Yes.
Stacy Denton.
Yes.
Gray Hodge. Gary Gibson.
Yes.
Dickie Johnson.
Yeah.
Mac Arnold.
Yes.
Bobby Jarrett.
Yes.
Kevin Richard.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Other business is the next item. Anyone have anything else they'd like to bring before the commission or question?
I did. I wondered, actually on the last vote, which, I mean, I know it passed, but was there anybody that should have recused themselves that would have possibly had a conflict of interest, that possibly has interest in solar farms?
Okay, which vote are we talking about?
Where we
This last item?
Not the last, this is,
The goals and objectives.
yes, with the comprehensive plan, since it had to do with solar.
Okay. Not that I'm aware of.
Are you?
I believe,
Accusing someone, we passed. Yeah, we
Sir.
passed it. We did exactly.
Sir.
What everybody said.
Sir,
Okay.
I absolutely, I 100% I am elated that it's passed. But there has been votes, not just tonight, but in the past, of somebody on this board, okay? I'm not gonna name names because they know themselves who they are, that votes that should not be voting.
According to what regulation?
Ask Mr. It's a conflict of interest. If your family owns interest in the solar,
Okay.
Our family owns property in Henderson County.
no.
Okay, hang on a second. Let's let our counselor shed light.
Okay.
Council,
Okay, that's okay. That's okay.
let Thomas Jones.
Yes, please.
Go ahead, sorry.
You have to have a direct or indirect financial interest.
And there is.
So we should set that aside then?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe a question needs to be asked if anyone should recuse themselves from a vote. And maybe I just need to speak with Mr. Dixon in private later. That's okay.
Anything else?
I mean, and I can go back from other meetings in past years where votes have been taken and they should have recused themselves from votes. That's all I wanted to bring up. But I am thrilled with how tonight has went, and I appreciate it, and I know it's been a long day. But I don't want to see mishappenings keep going on in the future. So, thank you.
Anybody else have something they'd like to bring before the commission tonight? Does staff have any other business we need to consider?
No, sir.
No one else?
Motion to adjourn.
There's a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second. I'll third it, fourth it.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of adjournment, say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? We stand adjourned.